concrete block. We've had it painted once before, and I heard the ads for Rhino Shield, and that piqued my interest.
Rhino Shield's not paint, it's a ceramic coating, which is better.
So the Rhino Shield crew that came out was really good. Next to our building, we have some automotive repair shop. There was no paint, no overspray anywhere that I could see, even on the concrete.
Business or residential, Rhino Shield comes with a 25-year warranty and is formulated specifically for our unique climate here in Chicago. And right now, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
You don't think of paint as an investment, but when you don't have to worry about painting your building for 25 years, to me, is a no-brainer.
This offer is limited, so call 847-850-1132 or ChicagoRhinoShield.com. That's ChicagoRhinoShield.com.
Go Rhino Shield.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
The insurrection of the Democrat Soviets of America does have its moments, not just the fact that they're all fat, ugly, and useless. Of course they can't describe it. It doesn't exist. They just want to take everybody else's stuff. We'll discuss that and so much more after Mike Scott in the news.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. An afternoon downpour, maybe a heavy thunderstorm, and a high of 84. A powerful earthquake has shaken western Colombia and neighboring Ecuador. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a magnitude 7.4 with injuries and serious damage to buildings. Cleanup continues around the Chicago area after late-night storms pounded much of the area with rain and high winds. Dozens of improperly stored bodies were removed over the weekend from a Southside funeral home after they were discovered Thursday by state officials.
I got a call that his body wasn't there. We called the funeral home, no answers.
The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office is still trying to identify all of the remains found at the South Chicago Chapel on 95th. That, they say, could take days. Chicago sports, White Sox and Cubs have a day off. The Bears, Luther Burden III, dealing with a major groin injury. The news, a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency, providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Jerry Willis, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages kicking off the new trading week lower as investors monitor U.S.-Iran developments and await consumer price inflation data that will be released on Wednesday morning. The reading will likely help determine the Fed's path for interest rates. Oil prices spiking on U.S.-Iran uncertainty, with West Texas Intermediate crude rising over $82 a barrel. Shares of airlines fell on rising oil prices. Energy and healthcare were the best performing sectors, while tech lagged. However, shares of Apple fell 1.5% following a downgrade from Jefferies. An analyst with the firm believes that the new iPhone design won't materialize anytime soon. The Dow winners, Chevron, Amgen, and Microsoft. The Dow decliners, Travelers, Sherwin-Williams, and NVIDIA. The Dow down 61 points. The Nasdaq lower by 85. S&P 500 down 5. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Gas prices in Chicago are riding like a roller coaster. They go up, they come down. Well, they come down a little bit, but then they go back up again. AM 560 wants to help ease your pain at the pump. Listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 for the lowest gas prices around Chicagoland. And if you see a low gas price, let us know. Just text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location, and we'll share it right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again. Or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, Hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going? Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
The TV tide is turning, and millions of Americans are tuning to Salem News Channel. For breaking news, common sense analysis, and the conservative voices leading the conversation, SNC delivers the stories that matter most. Watch Scott Jennings, Larry Elder, Mike Gallagher, and many others tackling the issues facing our nation. Stream free on Pluto TV, Samsung TV, the Roku channel, and more. Salem News Channel. The news you want, the perspective you trust.
Are you slumpy? Slumpy? It's a made-up word to describe someone who's grumpy from a bad night of sleep. Clever. But Penny Mustard has discovered the cure for severe slumpiness.
Let me guess. A nightly dose of a double-sided hybrid mattress.
Made in Wisconsin.
And built to last 45% longer than the average unflippable model.
Ask your doctor about Penny Mustard. Hopefully they bought their mattress here too, because who wants a slumpy doctor?
Find a showroom near you at pennymustard.com.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the outbound Eden, you're okay. The Kennedy, downtown, out to O'Hare, 45 minutes. Eisenhower, 1 hour. Post Office to 390 Stevenson, 45 minutes out to 355 from DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and 25 minutes outbound Ryan. Tighten the Express Pershing to Marquette. There are delays along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, but they are lighter than usual at this time. Southbound Tri-State snug, and then we're seeing delays eastbound Reagan approaching Roosevelt. 355, so far so good along that. As for I-57, that is fine. Outbound side of the Bishop Ford tight, 111th down to the Steel Bridge. This report is a service of the daily podcasts of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcasts at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible. The storms could bring flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. The low will be around 70. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sun in the afternoon. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the
Boy, that Bud Billiken parade looked like fun. How's it go? Piper to Ghetto. And people who moved out of the area smiled from coast to coast. As you see the result of Ghettonomics. Isn't that already socialism, or is that called the Soviet movement? What exactly is it called? See, Squirrel, there used to be years ago on television, and the Sunday show specifically, such intellects would argue, and they would bat around Piven, Francis Fox Piven, and Cloward, and they would bat around these American communists, all from Chicago. They would make fun of them. But back then, there was a different articulation of what we were up against. You see, there is no such thing. Socialism does not exist. It's not a thing. It's just stealing from other people. And through time, people with an IQ over 60 who wouldn't go to the Bud Billiken parade understood this. So that's why they didn't talk about it anymore. Socialism, communism, it's just policies of plunder. And that's what they were made to do, policies of plunder. So before we dive into the intellect of Zero, the modern-day Democrat, what is it called? Soviet party. I'm not going to call it socialist. They're Soviets. They don't have a plan. They just want to take everybody's stuff. Thomas Sowell, years and years ago, on the show Free to Choose, he understood exactly what this was.
No, what the government is trying to do, is to set up programs justified on the assumption that they are equalizing. I think the crucial thing is that when you try to create this equality, you don't create the equality, you create something else. I've been doing studies now for 20 years of programs designed to increase equality. They increase inequality because even when the programs are designed for disadvantaged groups, they help the affluent members of disadvantaged groups, while the lower members of those groups fall further behind than ever before. And
that's the goal, because you see it at the Bud Billiken. Have you ever seen so many people celebrate slavery, celebrate incompetence, celebrate a government system where the only place to be is inside the government? Gangbangers with pensions. It's all it is. And everybody knows that. That's why when you listen to them on the Sunday shows, they cannot tell you what it is. What exactly is this movement of the Democrat Soviet Party? You know what the fantastic part is? Is when they run for office, every once in a while, their staffers will be caught on a hot mic. This El Saidi, yabba dabba doo, might be my favorite new one, because his imbeciles can't figure out when the red light is on, it's recording, stupid.
Everything is people aren't stupid. This politics of no translation is going to be the way forward. No, for sure. Money on politics, money in your pocket, Medicare for all. No one has to decipher what the hell that means.
I just want people to be like,
no one has to decipher what that is. People are stupid. And to his credit, this has been done before. With ghetto care, known as Obamacare, which backdoor nationalized health care. You remember Hans Gruber's sissy cousin?
You just literally cannot do it. Okay, transparent financing, unless I have transparent financing, also transparent spending. I mean, this bill was written in a tortured way to make sure CBO did not score the mandate as taxes. If CBO scored the mandate as taxes, the bill dies. Okay, so it's written to do that. In terms of risk-rated subsidies, if you had a law which said healthy people are going to pay in, it made explicit that healthy people pay in and sick people get money, it would not have passed. Okay, just like lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But
No. Stupidity of your supporters. See, you don't have to look at a Bud Billiken parade to figure out the people who support this are useless, dangerous morons who simply want to take from others. That's the grand scheme of things. Now, here's a chick whose face makes me hungry. I don't know her first name, but her last name is Romer. She could banned from all lumber yards, softening 2x4s with just a glance.
Democratic centralism is one of those kind of like scary words people hear and they're like, oh, like Stalin. And you're like, okay, all right. It actually means something and it has this greater historical context. And it just...
Does this Democrat utopia of socialism and communism and centralism, whatever you want to call it, does it have some sort of an exercise program? You fat slob! Why are they all disgusting?
Can you unpack it? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it means we make a decision democratically and then we do the thing. Like, that's all it means. It just means, like, we decided to all do this campaign and we're all showing up for the campaign.
Now, what she's describing to morons is a mobocracy, where 51 take away the rights of the 49. This is exactly opposed. In fact, what she's advocating is an insurrection. She's advocating and preaching treason. Now, nobody takes her seriously because nobody takes Democrats seriously. You do know. Like the Bud Billiken parade, you're a joke, right? You do know. You're a walking punchline. It's not a coincidence. Every area you have is full of ghettos. And your tax schemes, your policies of plunder, destroy the quality of life. Like Al Saidi yabba dabba doo promises to tax the middle just a little bit more. You know who never pays taxes? A Pritzker and any other oligarch in the Democrat mafia, because they either marry money or they steal it, right? Silky G?
Make Medicare free and universal if you increase taxes. So if you are elected and make this push, would you need to increase taxes?
As I've said across this campaign, I am for taxing billionaires their wealth.
What about people who make less than $1 billion and less than $1 million, though, Dr. El-Sayed? What about people making...
Dr. Agatsan Gul. Isn't his wife a doctor, too, with her costume on like a mailbox? Where'd you get your degrees there, El Shaidi Yabba Dabby Dooey?
Less than $1 million.
So for the average person, and you look at your W-2, if you're an employee, he gets paid every 2 weeks or 4 weeks.
Is that how you get paid? Is that how your wife gets paid? Is that how the people who finance your campaign get paid? You see, this is the dirty little secret. Promises of utopia by taking more of the money of the people who work in the areas, unfortunately, they're governed. You see, and what they do is blame the system. The food is high. The burrito is high. The taxes of these areas are what destroys the quality of life, which is why the 11 states that make up 74% of our GDP, not a Democrat in sight, let alone in power.
After you pay your taxes, the next biggest check that comes off the top of your pay stub is to your health insurance company. So imagine instead of paying that to your health insurance company.
Whoa, wait a minute there, El Saidi. I know you're talking to morons that do not work like the Bud Billiken Parade members. But you're missing a bunch of stuff. All your other schemes of utopia, from unemployment to Social Security and how the employer pays and the guy pays and where's the money? Gone. Policies of plunder. So he's not talking to actual people who make money. He's just talking to the slobs, like Megan Romer, who want to take money, sit at home, and wait for the pizza delivery guy to drop off a load.
CEO makes $20 million a year. Instead, you paid a little bit more in taxes for health care that you wouldn't lose if you lost your job or turned.
But in this healthcare system, do I at any point have to pay the insurance costs of a degenerate scumbag who is your supporter? Do I have to pay a degenerate scumbag with a degree like your wife or yourself who is a traitor, a Democrat, a roach? Because then I don't want to. Why don't the Democrats just say, we'll do it? You guys are so good at running stuff. Why don't you just have Democrat universal health care? And you put in all your little money, and if you're a Democrat constituent, you get your health care for free. Do you want to try that and see if it turns out any different than your ghetto areas you've already made uninhabitable for people with an IQ over 60 and a job, like Bud Billiken Parade?
26 or got married or got divorced. I think all of us would be a lot more interested in that kind of a system if we knew that our health care would be free at the point of care and would be free.
What is this free you speak of? How does free work? Anybody? What is free? And it's funny how you look at all these little areas, all these little municipalities, how they do not understand what they really are. You see, they're corporations that produce nothing but extortion of the people who live there. You do know that, right? Your little seal on your town, incorporated. Incorporated to do what? Incorporated to take a piece of the action of every transaction in that community. To charge taxes on things they'd never own, like water. To charge taxes after you've paid for the sin of buying real estate. Then you pay taxes to sell it. Ooh, transfer stamps. What's that? That's extortion by a corporation that produces nothing but bulldung of Gatsan Ghoul. Politicians who could never make money in the outside. You know what I realized, Squirrel? Nobody knows this. Like this scumbag municipal mayor of a place no one wants to live.
This is not a corporation. This is your municipal government.
It says corporation on the seal, Marty.
Hey, Marty! You stupid, bald bastard commie! Right behind you, it says corporation. What exactly do you do? And then you realize all they do is tax the life, the acquisition, the consumption of everybody who lives in those areas, which is why the people with an IQ over 60 who don't want to go to Bud Billiken Parade, they get the hell away from these commies.
Can we talk about the latest report from the Citizens Budget Commission? And I know you're very aware of this and sensitive to big businesses leaving New York City. Their latest report basically said wealthy individuals are moving out, families are moving out, and single filers are coming in, people who really...
Listen, why don't you just say this? The decent with jobs, character, and principles are getting away from the Democrats.
They can't afford New York City are coming here. You had to bail out New York City $8 billion this budget. They're saying they see a $10 billion budget deficit. What do you think? How do we stop this?
Well, first of all, the data that came out is from 2022.
Do you think it's any...
So, by the way, the data she's referring to was so staggeringly increased of people leaving and fleeing. That's before the global intifada asset known as Mayor Mandamny, who lived with his mother and father before he won the election, who destroyed the quality of life, who doesn't understand his ass from his elbow as he pretends to be helping people, took power. So take these numbers that they're discussing and times them by 4. And you're probably real close to how many people got the hell out of there or are planning to.
Better? I mean,
No,
we had an $8 billion budget deficit this year.
Let me explain.
Yeah.
All right.
Back then, big driver of people leaving, and you could draw a through line from when the Donald Trump administration and Congress got rid of the state and local tax.
Or maybe it's when you, on your Merlot, antidepressant, and Botox high, took a position you never should have had, you dizzy bimbo. Maybe it's when you drove up the taxes of everything like every other Democrat. You think it's then? I do.
The answer is socialism. Socialism is a disaster. Why is the cost of housing so high in New York City? Because, unfortunately, left-wing mayors have made it very difficult for developers to build in New York City. Mandami, when he freezes rents, he's just going to make the problem worse. There are buildings in New York City, many buildings in New York City, where half the tenants, plus or minus, are rent-stabilized apartments. And so their rent is frozen, and the other half are free market. And so what does the landlord do in order to generate enough cash flow to cover his interest expense? Well, he's going to raise rents, because he can't raise them.
Bill Ackman, what do you know? You just built a fortune worth billions on your brain. What do you know? Man, damn you live with his mammy and his pappy, who stole the Netflix password when he went by his boyfriend's house. He knows more than you, right? How many people know exactly what happens in New York City, where suck-on Democrats have been paying $80 a month for 40 years in rent?
My parents own a building for the last 38 years, and they have been abused by the system left and right. In 2026, we have a rent-controlled tenant that's been paying $80 a month rent for the last 38 years. My father owns the building. We can't afford to fix anything.
We have arrears for tenants that continue to not pay, housing court cases that refuse to move at any kind of normal pace. We have utilities that are skyrocketing.
Call a demolition company and tear the frickin' buildings down before you allow this Soviet movement to take control of your property. 312-642-5600.
Make money, smoke cigars, and live free on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today.
Tired of that outdated bath or shower but dread the cost and hassle of a lengthy remodel? Let Jacuzzi Bath Remodel come to the rescue with the perfect bathroom remodel at a price you can afford. Maybe stepping over that high bathtub feels unsafe, or you want to add a beautiful bath your whole family can enjoy. Whether it's a safer, easy entry shower complete with grab bars and a custom seat, to a beautiful spa-like family bath that's functional and stylish. With a Jacuzzi Bath Remodel, you can enjoy your personalized bath or shower installed in as little as 1 day. Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering no interest and no payments for up to 1 year. To schedule your free design consultation and quote, call now. Call 800-384-5277. That's 800-384-5277. 800-384-5277. With purchase and installation, financing through third-party lenders, subject to credit approval. No interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Interest charged from purchase date if not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Call dealer for details.
AM 560. The Answer.
You know, there are still people that think Bud Billiken was a real guy. He's a fictional character. Pied Piper to ghetto, delivering peaceful neighborhoods, quality education, and a standard of life that doesn't make you throw up in your mouth like watching the Bud Billiken parade.
This is not a corporation. This is your municipal government.
It says corporation on the seal, Marty.
Hey, Marty, you fracking moron! What corporation? There's a couple of good ones. These are the dumbest people in our society. The absolute dumbest. The good news is they've identified themselves. They're Democrats.
Our book is called Abolish Rent, and one of the ways that we describe what that might be is a permanent and general rent strike. And why do we have to do it, right?
You mean scumbags taking over property? Yes, you do. You know how you can identify where they are, Squirrel? It's the worst property you've ever seen in your life. Terry, Shirakistan.
Hey, Shaun, I was watching yesterday CBS National News and ABC National News, and they both said the lettuce recall and the jalapeno are public health crisis. How come they don't count all the fatalities, homicides, with the illegals driving big rig trucks or the cars? Is it
Okay,
because
I can answer
the insurance companies
I can answer you.
It's 100% insured, they're making money off the accident? It's the lawyers?
I can answer you. Because the company that has the lettuce is embroiled in a scandal where it looks like government money was funneled in during COVID and they stole it. Between the people that ran the company, the husband and wife, and some dingbat pig who was in charge of their accounts, stole the money. So this is a nice little way to cover it up and blame the corporation rather than the government who gave them money as they were going out of business to poison the American people with this new thing. That's number one. Number two, when you would blame the people for illegal aliens driving up the cost of insurance and crashing cars and killing people on the highway, you would have to blame the Secretary of State, who, as we speak, is running for the mayor of Chicago. So how are you going to do that and justify voting for Silky G? How are you going to do that, Terry? You can't. And that's why you won't hear much of it on the story any more than you'll hear much of an interview, which is a joke, really, when you listen to these idiots, these asshats, these frauds. He's part of the skins team and the shirts and skins of the Barack Obama steam bath socialists.
You've been around a long time. There's a long Oppo file on you, and I don't want to litigate, everything there. But I think there's two big things that operators are talking about a lot.
Who is talking about?
Operatives, behind-the-scenes campaign, people, we've been waiting for you guys to enter the race. The Bright Start 529 college savings bond program suffered big losses when you were state treasurer. Investors lost about $150 million. So why should voters trust you to manage Chicago's $16 billion?
Because facts matter. When I took office as state treasurer, we had one of the worst college savings program in America.
So let's just take that. So when you took office, it was one of the worst. Who ran it before you? Another asshat. Another scumbag daily short-in-the-pants mafia member who loaned money to guys named Jaws, half-ass pansy wannabe gangsters, and such. But you waited till you were in charge of the bank with your brother, who now works at the New York Bank of Mellon after he got the $400 million bailout. Where'd that money go? Hey, Silky, where'd the money go? Don't worry. And whatever you do, don't talk about illegal aliens driving by sound as they were on a burro when they got here last Thursday.
7th out of 48 states, we took it to what was one of the top programs in the country. This was during the Great Recession, by the way.
Hold on a minute now. What year, what quarter was the Illinois 529 plan the top in the country? And if that's the case, was it at the bottom of the collapse? How do you come to that conclusion? Just say it. That. Who's going to challenge them? Some moron stinking up your television at the Bud Billiken parade?
Funds within Bright Start started having some pretty heavy losses. We were the first state treasurer's office in America to notice it. We were the first state treasurer's office to take action. We were the only state treasurer's office in America to actually recoup some of those losses.
How much? Because he said $155 million. So how much did you recoup, Silky? Just say it real fast and unbutton your shirt, bimbo.
And after all that, when the market recovered, we got a gold cup for one of the top 5 programs in the country. So listen,
Now, did you get a gold cup at the same time Barack Obama was president? Because if I'm to believe your story of the collapse, and that would mean Barack Obama, who was late on his Chrysler 300, getting his payment from a loan shark in the First Ward. That means he gave you a gold cup? Is that like when Daley would give another guy in Bridgeport who couldn't read a stop sign a job at the street department? Is it similar? Yeah, you guys are fooling me, you scum.
I get politics. I get, people who don't have campaigns that are going anywhere trying to take their shots. I get it, but facts do matter.
The other one I hear...
Facts don't matter, especially in Chirac. They'll vote for any scumbag who promises them more as something for nothing in a fancy suit. You're perfect for it.
About is the Broadway bank seized by the feds, questionable financial dealings. How do you pivot and explain that to voters?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. During the Great Recession, which was the worst recession since the Great Depression, over 500 community banks, not big banks, community banks,
were forced to close their doors. And
forced by who? Forced by Democrats. Not just the Democrat in charge, Barack Obama, who still was looking for his panties, but by Barney Frank and Chris Dodd and Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, who encompassed banks who had not one bad loan to offset the gangster banks, such as you and your scumbag family, right? Boy, oh boy. You know what the problem is, Squirrel? He knows, and I know. Who's he talking to? The same people who beat the hell out of each other at the Bud Billiken parade? They don't give a rip!
Unfortunately, my father's business that he started in 1979, that even though I wasn't working there, was one of those community banks. And while it was...
I have a community bank. You know what my bank did? Nothing. You know what some of the banks did that were surrounded by crooked county? They were engulfed to offset the $400 million. Hey, Alexi, where's the $400 million? Where's the money?
Really tough for me and crushing for my family during the Great Recession. And
Oh, come on. Your brother's at the New York Bank of Mellon. Probably trying to find his girlfriend's panties in a hotel room that he can't afford. 312-642-5600.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show, where Democrats are always wrong, Republicans are seldom right, and politicians are never, ever to be trusted. On AM 560, The Answer.
Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, offers Chicago businesses relationship-first banking. Signature knows your name and your story because personalized banking still matters. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature is where I do my business banking.
Hi, I'm Phil Silverman, CFO of Chicago Atlantic and a client of Signature. We provide capital solutions in markets where risk is often fundamentally mispriced and traditional financing can be limited. Ahead of an important and complex transaction closing, Signature promptly assisted us in addressing a wire issue through their monitoring and verbal verification process, helping us administer the closing on time while maintaining best-in-class control oversight. That kind of hands-on attention is hard to find, and that's why we value our relationship with Signature.
Signature helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature, a division of Esquire Bank, at 773-467-5600 or visit signature.esquirebank.com. Esquire Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I'm Gary Carr, retired homicide detective and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. For 10 years, we've helped more than 20,000 students become safe, responsible, and confident firearm owners. If you're looking to get your Illinois Concealed Carry license or need to renew, now is the perfect time. Our law enforcement-led training gives you the knowledge and skills to protect yourself and your family. Our 16-hour concealed carry class includes live fire training, one-on-one coaching, Illinois and Florida certification for expanded reciprocity, range qualification, and a full-color textbook. We provide the firearm, ammunition, eye and ear protection, targets, and range access. Need a renewal? Our 3-hour renewal class keeps you legal and current on Illinois firearm laws. Thousands of students have trusted us for professional instruction, flexible scheduling, and exceptional value. Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian for classes, less lethal options, and self-defense legal plans. Visit us at concealedcarrychicago.com to reserve your seat today. That's concealedcarrychicago.com, concealedcarrychicago.com.
Market volatility. See, when you're honest, you have to have fundamentals to make money in the market. Corrupt scumbags and insider traders like Democrats, they don't need any of that. The fix is in. They could have phony front banks, loan money to gangsters, and when it all craps out, they get a big payday. But for us, we have to manage our money smart, which is why you need smart people who understand not just markets, but what the goal is of the decent people, to keep the government out of their kids' pockets and leave their assets to them. Alpha Wealth Group and Tom Fortino, that's who does it for me. That's who I recommend. 630-864-6711 is the only number you need. Tom Fortino or anybody who has been helping people for 30 years achieve their goals of retirement in the monetary amount, and then the most important one, leave it to your kids. The fruit of your loins. Not some degenerate who was smuggling heroin over last week. 630-864-6711 to navigate the potholes of corruptonomics when Democrats are in charge, to take advantage of private sector growth when the decent Donald Trump and Republicans are in charge. It's that easy. Online at thealphawealthgroup.com or call 630-864-6711. Ask for a no-obligation consultation. They'll review the way you're structured. They'll understand what your risk tolerance is along with your goals, and they make it happen. No matter what is happening in the markets, they understand the fundamentals. Tom Fortino is one of the smartest guys I know when it comes to understanding the fundamentals of currencies, of metals, of stocks, of options, of indices. Tom Fortino and Alpha Wealth Group, 630-864-6711. When we get back, we're going to go to the lines, 312-642-5600. If you care to join Namaste and George from Naperville and Phyllis from Berwyn, after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Scott in the QC Kinetics newsroom. Heavy thunderstorm can't be ruled out this afternoon with a high of 84. A powerful earthquake has shaken western Colombia and neighboring Ecuador with reported injuries and serious damage to buildings. Progressive candidates for governor in Wisconsin and the U.S. Senate in Minnesota making their final push tonight. Ahead of tomorrow's election, Democrat incumbents in Connecticut are trying to fend off progressive challengers there. Bally's Chicago is suspending construction on part of its permanent casino development in the River West neighborhood. The company announcing the pause as a dispute with the city over potential expansion of video gambling terminals continues. The White Sox host the Reds tomorrow night, while the Cubs will visit Washington. The news is a service of Fox Valley Coins, currently buying all gold and silver bars, coins, silver dollars, rare date, proof, and mint sets. Visit foxvalleycoins.com. Your next news update is at 5. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the afternoon commute in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here is Jill Urchek.
Here's another look at the roads on the outbound Edens. No reported troubles. The Kennedy, 45 minutes out to the airport from the Chamberlain interchange. That is tight Armitage to Costner. Outbound Eisenhower, just under 1 hour. Post Office to 390. Stevenson, a crash at Clarendon Hills off to the left shoulder. A bit tight going in at 35, back out 48 minutes. And the outbound Ryan, 28 to get to 95th with an accident on the off-ramp to the Stevenson. Stop and go in the express lanes, 43rd to Marquette. Bishop, 4 tight going out 115th to the Steel Bridge. Eastbound Reagan crash reported at Roosevelt, another on the off-ramp to the Tri-State. We're seeing delays mainly southbound side of the Tri-State. Northbound, not too bad. 355 also in decent shape at this time. Westbound I-80. Stop and go from Briggs to the Des Plaines River Bridge. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible, which could lead to flooding, downpours, and localized damaging wind gusts. The low temperature will be around 70 degrees. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sunshine in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Judy loves the summer in Chicago, but she hates the paint, so she called Rhino Shield.
After having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
And Rhino Shield comes with a 25-year warranty and is formulated specifically for our unique climate here in Chicago.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
And just in time for summer Chicago, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield, and I am just thrilled to recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
This offer is for a limited time, so call now, 847-850-1132, 847-850-1132, or ChicagoRhinoShield.com.
No pain, go Rhino Shield. Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1783, the Revolutionary War was nearly over, but America's future remained uncertain. Officers in the Continental Army were angry. Congress had failed to provide promised pay, and some considered using the Army's power to force the government's hand. George Washington understood their frustration, but he also knew the liberty they had fought to win could be destroyed by the very army that secured it. Washington confronted his officers and urged them to choose honor, patience, and loyalty to the Republic over rebellion. He could have used their anger to increase his own power. Instead, he used his influence to restrain it. Power asks what it can take. Character asks what duty requires. Washington's lesson still stands. Freedom survives when leaders place principle above ambition and remain faithful to God, country, and the people they serve.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Wild West items, political history, we sell your American treasures. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I wonder why they give this J-Lo so much attention. When I say J-Lo, I mean AOC. Is that why? Because she looks like Jennifer from around the block there? I mean, you want to talk about a moron. But then again, aren't they all? I always wanted to be a banker too. Me, Silky G, his brother, the old man, all bankers.
I was never able to become a banker.
Banker. So you're killing yourself because your dreams of becoming a banker have gone unfulfilled. You can't live without being a banker.
Yeah. If I can't be a banker, I don't want to live.
You must be a banker.
Must be a banker.
Okay, we'll go with the banker story. I had...
Next thing you know, you'll be Secretary of State and with a good shot to be the mayor. A couple of wannabe gangsters around you, you'll be all right. Georgie, Naperville.
Yeah, Shaun, I want to live where the deer, antelope, and buffalo roam, and not where the electronically monitored roam and no one knows where they are.
Well, you can't move where John Thune is. Wasn't he South Dakota? Isn't he some Dakota or not? This is why, to George's point, we never won this whole idea. They're going to win. We might win. Who's we? Is John Thune we? How many people know with this asshat who's never worked a day in his life? Mitch McConnell's lapdog, when Mitch McConnell used to have a lap and be alive. Mitch, what do you think, Mitch? Fracking idiot.
Senator John Thune sent the Senate on a 37-day vacation, but made sure to lock in pro forma sessions every few days to block President Trump from making any recess appointments during the 5-week break. Okay, here's a fast fact.
5 weeks. 5 weeks these idiots are on a campaign tour. And for 5 weeks, they will prevent Donald Trump from making a recess appointment, which would mean, in the event of the loss of Congress and the Senate, it would take 2.5 years for the Democrats to get whoever he appoints out of office. And aside from that, they could pass the SAVE Act. You know, the one that would legitimize fiefdoms from stealing elections the way Chicago has been doing since it was incorporated.
For you, it only takes one senator to object to the unanimous consent for pro forma sessions to stop this from happening. The Senate Majority Leader fought off the senators who wanted to stay and pass the SAVE Act, making sure he could go back to South Dakota, then continued the fight to keep any business from getting done by scheduling the pro forma sessions every few days.
So aside from the fact that Rand Paul or Mike Lee or Ted Cruz, somebody should object anyway. What do you follow this idiot for? Which tells you, we, the decent people, have never been in the lead or been in control of anything. Because, in my opinion, if they don't do this, and I'm talking about the specific good ones, and I love Ron Johnson, but do it, Ron. What the hell are you doing? You've been fighting for everybody for 5 years. Object to this. This is outrageous. Oh, gee, I hope we don't lose the Senate. Get the hell out of here. We've never been in charge of anything. Jim, namaste.
Namaste, my brother.
How are you?
Hey, Standard. I'm calling about this birthright citizenship thing. You know, there's this Chinese businessman, billionaire. His name is XUBO Shubo, and he's birthed 100 American children.
Sure.
And then brought them back to the homeland of China to educate them, and then so they could come in and change our voting and our laws when they become adults, so dual citizenship.
Well, they'll do half the damage of the irregular Democrats who just import the ballots for the last, 20 years and been stealing elections that way. So, it's a terrible system, but when you bribe enough Democrats and some Republicans, you get away with it, Jim. Proving my point, we, the decent, have never been in the lead. And you know who made certain this will continue in perpetuity? John Thune. Remember that. John Thune, who is a Republican. But he's like the never Trump. Hey, Jonah Goldberg, what do you think, moron? Glenn, Orlando.
Yeah, Shaun, man, these traders are unbelievable. But anyway, AOC, she has concluded that the reason why we won the Cold War was due to climate change.
Dude, I tell you, to watch her this weekend was absolutely fantastic. I mean, really, honestly fantastic. You want to talk about a monument? You know, I've always said the Democrats in general are monuments to the stupid and to the scum in society. Just look at them. Just pick one from any era. Monuments to scum or stupid. But I will say this, 25, 30 years ago, and I'm including Richard J. Daley, who I strongly believe couldn't read. I'm including them in this. This crew is a separate kind of moron.
But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many.
Yeah.
One prevailing one is democracy. And I believe that democratic socialists are fundamentally pro-democracy.
Democracy? You mean mobocracy? And what she's hiding is that in their world, they could just say 51% of the people want to take the assets, the rights, and the life away from 49, and that's socialism. That's okay then. So you're dealing with morons who could not have a conversation with a founding father, with a 14-year-old Civil War fighter on either side. You're dealing with the dumbest time in American history right now in the year 2026. So who's to blame for that? The policies of plunder that Thomas Sowell warned us of. The education system, where right now in the city of Chicago, that is a joke. And all you have to do is look at a news clip. $33,000 per head, whether a citizen, whether a non-citizen, whether in the room. That's what society is built to teach morons to believe this is a government versus a policy of plunder. And they got it just the way they want it. Morons supporting morons. Isn't that right? Fat girl Roma. What's her name? Margaret? Maggot? What is her name? Megan? Doesn't matter.
I voted no on endorsing XYZ, and I'm still going to show up and knock some doors. That's all it means.
No, you're not. You're not. 3 steps, you ain't getting your big fat ass and a yardstick of ass crack up it. She's got to be 320, squirrel.
I think, yeah. I don't. People have developed these boogeymen around their everything on the left. So figuring out what that discipline to the organization, and the idea of like, I have discipline to the organization, not the organization is going to discipline me. You know, the organization is not going to show up and slap.
Yeah, but how's it work? What's the economic system of your so-called socialism, you fracking moron?
At my wrist, that's silly. But I think by drawing some lines and by saying, like, this is really what we believe in, it's not negotiable. I think we did that for the first time with.
Now, this would mean nothing except they have the queen of fat bottom girls. And she's out there telling you it's an option. She's got a rash that hasn't gone away since 1978. The Duchess of Chafington.
You're not going to convince Republican voters in Michigan. And the real fight will be how do we make sure that people who voted for Haley feel comfortable voting for Abdul El Sayed, and how do we get independents to feel comfortable? And you can see that.
Shut the frack. That's the only thing Bill Clinton did that I understood, is he stepped out on her. You know, Squirrel, I don't take it, but a friend of mine, an old man at the cigar store, he said on the Viagra bottle, it says, "Stay away from Hillary Clinton." Voiced clips. Dominic, Glendale Heights.
I do have a question. Can the vice president call the Senate back?
He can break a tie vote, but he's not the president of the Senate, or is he? Maybe he is. That's very interesting.
Because here's
he is the president of the Senate. Yeah.
Because if he can call him back and he doesn't, I'm not voting for him for president 2028.
No, I'm not a Vance guy anymore. But I will say this: why is it that all of our good ones, and I mean this, I first of all, I liked Rand Paul. I don't like him after what he did with the SAVE Act and all the rest of it. But Ron Johnson, I love. I think he's one of the only decent men that's in this position. He's a man of character. I'd love to know. In fact, we should try and talk to him. Why doesn't he? It takes one guy to object, and you could negate this. First of all, they're on break for 5 weeks, these slots. 5 weeks. Who the frick
Get him
goes
on
on
the show.
vacation for 5 weeks? We've had him on before, Dom. I'm gonna try and get him.
Get him again.
Because I love him. I mean it. I love him. What he did for us, how he stuck up for women under the tyranny of the vaccine. I mean, he's the one guy I really have the utmost respect for. Thank you very much, Dom. He'll know. He's a decent person in an indecent system called Washington. Caligula for scum. 312-642-5600.
He will never negotiate his constitutional rights with the government. Live free or die on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
The following contains a celebrity impersonation.
Mr. President, we're seeing reporting that air conditioning systems are failing as temperatures rise. What is your response?
I said, don't wait. People wait until the last second, then suddenly it's hot and nothing works. I understand this stuff probably better than anybody.
Mr. President, why hasn't the White House issued any guidance?
I gave perfect guidance. Call Air Right Heating and Cooling. That's the guidance. If people followed it, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Sir, but homeowners have so many HVAC options.
They're not like Air Right. You got some bad installers out there, some real bad hombres. I wouldn't let them near the White House. It would be a complete disaster.
Mr. President, there are reports of significant rebates on new systems. Can you confirm?
I've heard about them. A lot of people talking about them. If you miss out, you'd have to be really not so smart. Tremendous savings, let me tell you.
Visit Air Right Heating and Cooling at AIR-RITE.com. Air Right, doing it right since 1959.
I remember sitting in the kitchen, heartbroken, overwhelmed, staring at costs and a list of decisions. I prayed for strength and reached out to Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, only to hear that Mom had already pre-planned everything so my siblings and I would be protected. Because she planned ahead, we weren't pulled apart by heartbreaking decisions.
Visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org or call 708-236-5400 to schedule a free consultation.
Important information regarding the Italy Unfiltered Dream Vacation Sweepstakes and the Italy Unfiltered Group Tour scheduled for September 2026. Due to ongoing uncertainty surrounding overseas travel conditions and future international travel considerations, the Italy Unfiltered Tour has been canceled. As a result, the Italy Unfiltered Dream Vacation Sweepstakes has also been canceled and no prize will be awarded. We understand this may be disappointing and appreciate your interest and participation. Additional information regarding the cancellation is available on our station's website on the Contests and Sweepstakes page. Thank you for your understanding and for being a valued member of our listening family.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus. I'm Weston. What's your question?
This is Captain Baker from the Sheriff's Office.
Hello, officer.
We have a report of missing employees at Hassleus Mattress.
That's right.
You're confessing?
Yes, I'm confessing that Hassleus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
Come again?
Shop for Beauty Rest and Sealy Posturepedic without commission-crazy salespeople breathing down your neck.
Sounds suspicious.
That's how we keep our prices way low.
How low?
Others sell a Beauty Sleep by Beauty Rest Queen Elm Cove A mattress for $1,599. But Hassleus has it for just $794. Plus, similar savings on Sealy Posturepedic and more.
That's criminally low.
And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
You wouldn't lie to a cop, would you?
Free next day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hassleus Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Open 9 to 9. Find an employee-free showroom near you or shop online at Hassleus.com.
Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
AM 560. The Answer.
You gonna let it all hang out, fat bottom girls.
I'm telling you, Squirrel, if she would have made this her campaign song, she might have got more votes. He was talking about her. It wasn't going to be that personality.
It's not just about Michigan, but the Republican messaging is communist, socialist. It's going to be a very effective attack. And
oh, my word. If that Viagra works when she's talking, that stuff works. Let's go with rentals. Carl, LaGrange Park.
Hey, Shaun. My brother-in-law owns a couple of pretty big apartments out in Willowbrook, and man, he's just said it is just totally changed. Like now the DuPage aid workers come in and bring people in, and he's got somebody now. He's got somebody now where, I mean, they just totally ruined the apartment, and she wants her deposit back, and now they're going on their 10th time to court. I mean, it's just not friendly for
Carl,
you
that's my business. And thank God, because years ago I had an opportunity to take a different turn and go really heavy into that. I have friends of mine who did that, and I would help them collect. And number one, I could see the attack politically. For instance, to even hold security is something I would never advise. You have to hold it very, very specifically, and if you do not, you have to pay exorbitant interest and all kinds of laws, but you can charge fees, move-in fee, move-out fee. But the other thing is you're not in control of your property. He cannot turn down scumbag renters. Can't turn them down. See, to me, I would never rent the property I own to somebody who cannot pay or isn't paying their own rent because they're not incentivized to be decent. In fact, they're disincentivized to be decent. They're incentivized to be scumbags. And that's why everywhere where Section 8 is taken, that's a place you don't want to live near. So I have to tell you, Carl, I mean, he should try. If he's got enough of them, sell them to some investor. When the smartest guy in the world, the owner of Google, sells his investment properties in New York City for 6 cents on the dollar, some would call that a sign, Carl. It's heartbreaking because you know who goes into that business? And they build their fortune slowly and methodically, and they suffer to make payments on stuff that's not rented out are decent people. 90% of the people who built a real estate portfolio working their ass off like your brother-in-law are wonderful people. The problem is they weren't paying attention. It was the Barack Obama era that took away the bundle of rights that property owners are guaranteed in America. He subverted the bundle of rights, and now you don't have right over your own property. There is a way to do it, though. You can say, I will not rent to a Democrat. You can still do that in this world. You can throw everybody out of every store and every apartment you have. I will not rent to a Democrat. I will not sell my goods to a Democrat. You could still do it. It's a bold move, but I think it's worth it. That's just me. Thank you, Carl. After all, just take a look at the Democrat areas. Is that who you want around you? Ugh. John, Lake Como, Wisconsin.
Shaun, you keep that mic red hot. We always appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, babe.
Speaking of Hillary Clinton, when is she going to learn to just shut up? You've been outsmarted by the stupid. Just shut up and go away.
Has she been outsmarted, though, John? Look at us. Look at us, babe. We work. Look at the people that listen right now. Everybody's working their ass off. They live on 50% of their money. This pig never worked a day in her life. She's worth hundreds of millions. Who the hell knows? She created a way, with Jeffrey Epstein's help, to have a foundation and use political power to get bribed legally. They're worth hundreds of millions. Scumbags, 1 and 2.
Yeah, and don't forget
maybe it all depends. It all depends what your definition of winning is. When you take two scumbags who are worthless in society and you made them power players to that level, could get away with anything. There's no crime, no evidence, no theft of a country as they robbed Haiti of billions. Nothing they can do to ever really dissuade or enforce law. So maybe they're the winners, and we're just the righteous. I'll take that. Scott, Willowbrook.
Shaun, there's some things going on with the Democrats that have a major retarding effect with me that I got to go through this with you. Maybe you can explain a couple of these things. The number one thing is they're running their mouths a lot about fixing healthcare. The price has gone too high. How can they even claim that they have any powers over being able to do that when they are the main constructs of the Affordable Health Care Act or the Affordable Care Act? Number two, wasn't there a Russian collusion investigation taking place already? Why would they have the FBI start up another one when it had to coincide with one that all that money is getting dumped in?
So listen, they're placating morons. Everyone knows a Democrat constituent is a moron or a thief. That's who their target audience is. And they're motivating the foot soldier of all isms, whether it's communism or socialism, whatever the hell it is. And that foot soldier is a coward by himself, but he's a thief in a crowd. All their policies, the reason I keep saying, what's the basis of it? It is theft. Now, what Barack Obama did is brilliant, to his credit. He managed to uncouple it from any financial responsibility, and they steal in the future called debt to pay off their areas. And that's what he did. He made these scum areas very rich after they released the pandemic. They stole the elections. And now, who's going to prosecute him? The assets called the positions of power, the federal judges who were put there because Andy Shaw was their father and they were part of the Democrat foot soldiers? Of course not. So the system is right. But here's the win. The win is the areas that have fended off this cancer of Democrat corruption. The only answer is the places that are not run by them. You cannot win where they cheat. We'll be back.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
This is attorney Robert Nauman of Nauman & Associates. Thank you, 560 listeners, for your continual phone calls to request our service in your estate planning matters. To share an example, a couple met with our team about an adult child that will need assistance after they both pass away. We created a trust with provisions that will protect that adult child and the rest of the family for years after they're gone. Give us a call when you're facing special circumstances with adult children. We'd love to help you protect your estate and your family. NALawGroup.com or 847-593-8777.
WIND, Chicago.
You've put up with your old shower for too long. It's outdated, unsafe, and it's time to replace it. But why struggle with a lengthy shower remodel when Jacuzzi can do it in just one day? And there's no need to break a sweat or your budget. Right now, we're waiving all installation costs, plus offering 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year. So you can finally convert your old bath to a safer, easy entry shower, complete with a custom seat, grab bars, and slip-resistant floor installed in 1 day.
My overall experience with Jacuzzi has been wonderful. Everything was customized to the way I wanted it for the price that I wanted to pay.
To schedule your free design consultation and get free installation plus 0 interest and 0 payments for up to 1 year, call Jacuzzi today. Call 800-384-3088. That's 800-384-3088. 800-384-3088. With purchase and installation financing through third-party lenders subject to credit approval, no interest and no payments if paid in full within 12 months. Interest charged from purchase date if not paid in full. Not all will qualify. Some installs take longer. Call dealer for details.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's NobleGoldInvestments.com. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560. The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
I have to tell you, the next guest, I am really excited to talk. If James Bond was a reporter and he was determined to never sleep, he'd be my next guest. Acclaimed investigative reporter, national security expert, U.S. Army veteran. He has consulted with the FBI, the U.S. Marine Corps, and so many other counterterrorism infiltrated Hamas, not just in Detroit. Scott Wheeler will join us after Mike Scott.
Good afternoon. In the QC Kinetics newsroom, I'm Mike Scott. Watch out for a heavy thunderstorm this afternoon with a high near 84. A powerful earthquake has shaken western Colombia and neighboring Ecuador, prompting major evacuations. The U.S. Geological Survey reports a 7.4 magnitude, serious injuries, and damage to buildings. Cleanup continues here in the Chicago area after late-night storms pounded much of the area overnight with rain and high winds. The Illinois Office of Comptroller is investigating a cemetery in Chicago. Comptroller Susana Mendoza announcing a probe into the crematory authority license at Bohemian National Cemetery. Philanthropist and businessman Willie Wilson announcing plans to launch a campaign for Chicago mayor, his fourth.
It ain't about Republican or Democratic, it ain't about black or white, it ain't about nothing. It's about human beings. Trying to make sure we do what we put on earth here to do.
Incumbent Mayor Brandon Johnson has not yet officially launched his campaign for re-election. The news, a service of the AM 560 store, T-shirts, hoodies, and more. From your favorite AM 560 brands, you need to go to 560theanswer.com/store. Time now for the AM 560 Business Beat.
I'm Lauren Simonetti, and this is the Fox Business Report.
The major averages finishing lower and pulling back from record highs notched last week as investors await key inflation data on Wednesday. Oil prices spiking on U.S.-Iran uncertainty, reviving inflation worries, with West Texas Intermediate crude settling over $82 a barrel. The big event this week is the Consumer Price Index report for July, which could change the narrative on inflation. Fed officials remain divided on whether to raise interest rates as they monitor the oil shock from the war with Iran. Shares of airlines and cruise operators fell as oil prices spiked. The Dow down 61 points, the Nasdaq lower by 85, S&P 500 down 5. Shares of Nvidia falling 3%, the AI darling teaming up with Wall Street asset managers as part of a $500 million AI infrastructure push. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again, or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going, Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
Don't miss Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn every Sunday from 11 to 12. Robert has a different way of looking at retirement from most financial advisors and is happy to share his ideas with you every week. So don't miss what he has to say. Destination Retirement with Robert Kuhn, Sunday mornings from 11 to 12 on AM 560 The Answer.
Stuck in traffic? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Kennedy downtown out to O'Hare, that's a 45-minute trip. The outbound Edens is clear. Inbound Kennedy, though, a crash reported at Lake Street, 48 minutes in from O'Hare to downtown. Eisenhower, 55 minutes to 390 from the post office. We have delays on the outbound Stevenson at 50 out to 355 from downtown, 55 south at Arsenal Road. There's a crash. 2 lanes are taken out solid from Route 59. 25 minutes outbound Dan Ryan. Now it's getting heavier along DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Either way, Tri-State mainly busy south. The Reagan eastbound crash reported at Roosevelt. Another on the exit ramp to the Tri-State. Other tollways, though, not too bad. This report is a service of Salem Surround, a local digital marketing agency providing high-performing digital solutions to surround your target audience. Go to surroundchicago.com today. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible. The storms could bring flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. The low will be around 70. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sun in the afternoon. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios,
This hour of the Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love the First Amendment. I want to carry and all else. I love property. And let me tell you something. If you care about your country, read Ludwig von Mises and the 6 lessons of the Austrian Economic School, motherfuckers.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is the Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
It's people like my next guest why I never waver from the fact the righteous will defeat the evil. The good will defeat the rise of the communist, the Fourth Reich, that's maybe in control of a lot of our bureaucracies. But knowledge and courage will overcome it, and that's really the best way. His resume is so long, my producer got winded reading it to me. He's an investigative reporter, national security expert, U.S. Army veteran. He's written 2 books. He's produced 17 television shows. He infiltrates terrorists, not just in Detroit, but the real Hamas. He's fearless and relentless. That's really the best way to describe Scott Wheeler. Scott, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, Shaun?
Well, I love the idea that you're out there and you're doing this because you validate all of my accusations. You truly do. You see, I believe for many years we're fighting a Leviathan, a Fourth Reich, that wants to give us the illusion of our republic, of representation, when really it's the game that's been afoot for 150 years. The Fabians versus the Marxists. And they've got us chasing our tail because the information is compartmentalized. And now they have the media as a Politburo, as a propaganda wing. What do you think?
Well, I think you've summed it up pretty well. I call the media, for the most part, it's their Democrat Party apparatchiks cross-dressing as journalists.
I love it. And it really explodes when the nucleus of gangster government, the social club called My Hometown Chicago and the Chicago Democrat, was exported to the White House. To me, it really exploded when Barack Obama was able to uncouple financial reality to fund these organizations between the nonprofits and the NGOs. I believe that the Democrat mafia that goes back to Saul Alinsky and the Chicago gangsters, that's who sacked our White House, who sacked our government. And I believe what we see in these riots, this is all just foot soldiers who are being paid. They call them Antifa or Trans-Tifa or whatever they call them. But to me, they're just the Bolsheviks who overthrew so many of great societies. How do you find it?
Yeah, absolutely. And at times they even serve as the Democrat Party militia. They were prepared to riot after if Trump had not if Trump had won the 2020 election, and I think perhaps he did, they were prepared to take to the streets and riot on behalf of the Democrat Party. Few people know that, but they were in place. I witnessed it.
And that's what you do. You infiltrate these organizations. You've actually infiltrated Hamas. But, you know, it was that Bob Kramer. You remember his wife was that very ugly woman from Chicago, a congresswoman. And her name escapes me right now. But Bob Kramer was her husband. And it was at the Trump rally at the University, UIC in Chicago. And he had hired people to throw the Trump supporters up into a frenzy. Is that the kind of thing you infiltrate to secure your opinion or to expose the reality of what's happening? Jan Schakowsky,
that's how
that's her name.
Jan Schakowsky, yes, I know her, actually. I've interviewed her a couple of times. But that's what we're looking for. In this case, after the Dobbs decision leaked from the Supreme Court, across the country, there were nearly 300 attacks on pro-life centers. And in one case up in Buffalo, they firebombed the building, blew it up. They basically did $500,000 in damage. And the FBI did nothing. In fact, I think there have been fewer than half a dozen arrests for all of these crimes. And they signed it Jane's Revenge. And no one was sure at that time when I first got involved, but I had been tracking Antifa for almost 8 years by that time. And I said, I think this is Antifa. Sure enough, we got in there. It was. And it took us about 3 years, but we finally solved it. And we did a report on it and released it on my Substack. People can see it free at scottwheeler.substack.com. And you can see the perpetrators. We went and tracked them down and put a microphone in their face.
I love this. So this is what you've done. You've produced 17 documentaries. Are they all along the vein of exposing the political leviathan, the underbelly of corruption?
Yeah, most of them. A lot of them were on China's infiltration of the United States and how they literally stole high-tech weapon systems from the United States, how they bought it and in some cases stole it and obtained it through espionage. But a lot of that was probably 5 or 6 documentaries were on different aspects of that China's infiltration of the United States. And in one case we did, I went undercover as an arms dealer and we caught a Libyan weapons of mass destruction pipeline in 1998, 5 years before. At that time, our government denied that Libya had a WMD program, but we exposed it. And then in 2003, Gaddafi came clean. And the CIA still never called me and said, by the way, you were right about that.
So, Scott, I'm a junkie on this stuff, all right? I'm a junkie on it. And when you really dig into it and you go back to World War II and you see the game as it is structured, as it is set afoot, the key players that enable so much of the destruction are government itself. And, most people think government, they forget it. They pretend it's an entity of virtue. When the reality is there is no government, there's just people. So all of the scandals that have happened under both administrations, Republican and Democrat, whether you're talking about Mena, Arkansas, or you're talking about Iran-Contra, it all stems with the approval, almost as a crossing guard, if not a boss, by government agencies, whether it's the CIA or the FBI. Now, in my neighborhood, the FBI is a joke. It stood for Forever Bothering Italians. And when you look at what's happening, that's not to say there aren't good people. There are. But when you're outnumbered and you're in a system of corruption, you're either stifled through procedure, bureaucracy, or you're intimidated directly, and you're Kiki, the guy that was killed by the DEA agent that was killed.
Kiki Camarena.
So, to me, we've had terrible, corrupt frauds in charge, from George Bush Sr. to who knows who, and the nameless communists like Brennan and Comey. Am I right?
Well, there is a lot of corruption, and there's plenty to go around. And I as I pointed out, the Democrat Party I call them the corrupt party and the stupid party. Republicans are the stupid party. And the Democrats, they infiltrated the Department of Defense, the FBI, the Justice Department, the CIA. And, few people remember this, but the Democrats used to hate the CIA and the FBI. You go back 20 years, they hated them. And then they got in control of it, and all of a sudden the CIA and the FBI became protected status. You could not insult a CIA or an FBI agent. That was practically a crime in the eyes of the Democrat. It was like attacking a soldier. And it is because the Democrat Party got control of those departments. By planting their loyal cronies in the civil service positions, which means that they can't be fired. They're not political appointees. They're just placeholders.
Forever bureaucrats. Yeah.
Yes. And they dominate that now, and that's how they get away with why there's been very few arrests in these firebombing cases and these attacks on the pro-life clinics and some churches.
Well, what you're describing is domestic terrorism. Antifa is a domestic terrorist organization, as Trans-Tifa, which I feel is not only directly responsible for my friend Charlie Kirk's death, but for so much of the mayhem and it's protected from government itself. If you've reported on this, if you broke this story, this is Antifa, and they're firebombing pro-life organizations. That is the definition of domestic terrorism, in the same way the Weather Underground was before Barack Obama represented them as the president. So we've got a real problem on our hands, and at least now for the last year and a half, Trump has been back in office. Is this picking up steam other than fantastic radio shows that are controlled by a very handsome host such as myself? Are you getting a lot of play? Are you on Fox and whatnot?
I haven't been on Fox in a long time. I think we're sort of bubbling along below the attention level. So that's all right. At some point, Fox is going to see this and pick it up, and then we'll start getting credit for it, and the FBI will, at the political level, will start paying attention. But right now, we just don't know. Not enough people have seen it. And people can go to scottwheeler.substack.com. You can watch it free. Please send it to, it's a YouTube video. You can send it to everybody. It's short, 7 minutes long, and get the word out. And eventually we will get justice.
Oh, I think so. I mean, and it's always going to be the money. It's always going to be the money trail. When this explosion happens of domestic terrorism being money laundered through NGOs and through different nonprofits and organizations that are offshore financed by the Chinese, ultimately there's a money trail to it. And when you look at the mass explosion of the debt since Barack Obama seizes the White House and the $30 trillion, that's a tremendous amount of money. And I'm wondering how much of this money have you gone through the money aspect, because the scandals, they're really too numerous to go over, whether we talk about Act Blue, whether we talk about Code Pink and the Chinese Neville or whatever the hell his name is, Neville Singh Neville, whatever. And you talk about the Southern Poverty Law Group financing the Klan. So ultimately, there is a trail. And I feel like the Trump administration, and Scott Bessent specifically, is aware of this. Are you getting any indication that there are going to be chickens that come home to roost here?
I think that they have their hands full. Eventually, I think a lot of these things are going to be taken up, and we'll see the wheels of justice start turning rapidly again. But I think they have their hands full. There is so much that was left, and 4 years of Biden, and the political corruption is outrageous, and it goes back. This started back in the Clinton years, and it's gotten drastically worse through the Obama years, and then hit a peak when Biden was in office.
And the conduit of all of this is George Bush Sr. And George Bush Sr.'s relationship with Bill Clinton, his orchestration of the CIA, during the operations in Mena, Arkansas, and other areas, and the Iran-Contra, which is a scandal most Republicans are afraid to talk about. I think it's outrageous. I think it was done without the knowledge of Reagan. But I remember when Reagan couldn't stand Bush. I remember the debates. And when he all of a sudden was the vice president, it was because the Republican Party insisted on him having that position, or the money would not go to Reagan. So when you look back at all of this, I was thinking of Operation Gladio with the Vatican and all that. But when you look back at all of this and you see the connections, the play of Barack Obama being Lolo Soetoro's stepson, the number 2 richest man in Indonesia, who was an asset of the CIA when Bush was the leader of it, it could very well be that this is not a partisan issue whatsoever. This is just about the illusion of a republic where the control has the plausible deniability up until now in investigative reporters like you. So when you look at all of it, including the war in the former Soviet Union and the connection between the Azovs and the Bush's father, Prescott Bush, and you look at the relationship and how that was cultivated during Obama and what we see there, could it be we're also financing the wrong side of that war of the former Soviet Union as well?
Well, those are out of my league to answer, but I can tell you that I've investigated many of the most controversial issues. I spent some time at MENA and the drug trafficking operation. I see it a little differently. I found that there wasn't a CIA connection. It was organized crime and Colombian narco terrorists. But
no,
there
Barry
were,
Seal?
When a lot,
it was a Barry Seal guy.
Yeah, the Barry Seal operation. Yeah. What happens, though, Shaun, when these things blow up, you get scads of people jumping in and claiming they were a part of it. One guy in that case wrote a book, big, thick book with a reporter from New York, and he basically wrote himself into the MENA story, and he had nothing to do with it, had never even heard of MENA. And just a bizarre, these things. But this happens when you suddenly, I interviewed probably 40 guys who were in prison for drug trafficking and who had never mentioned a connection to the CIA until that hit the streets. And then that story was out, and all of a sudden all these drug traffickers were working for the company, as they used to say. And it just blew up all at once. And so that's what the disinformation and misinformation that's out there really muddies all the water, and it makes it more difficult to track these things down because you've got all these bit players on the fringe jumping in and writing themselves into the story. And Trump's seeing some of that right now with the Epstein files. You know, all of a sudden you've got women around the country saying, yes, I was 12 years old and Trump molested me when I was at Epstein's place. And you know, these stories, it happens to everybody. And Trump, of course, is that you would never hear of these people unless it's somebody the media hates. The media and the Democrats hate Trump. So, of course, suddenly these people, the same with Kavanaugh. I knew one of the women who accused him. She's a nutcase. Everybody who knew her knew she was lying. But the media give these people credibility by pretending they believe the story or pretending that this is possible. Maybe they might be telling the truth, even though they know darn well that they aren't.
Well, look at E. Jean Carroll.
It's really tragic.
E. Jean Carroll would be in an asylum when we were young. Instead, she stands to grab $85 million or some ridiculous amount of money. When it comes to Antifa, the timing of Antifa, coinciding with the BLM movement, where the drug dealer George Floyd, who by the way is clean 6 years now, when he was died of an overdose, and you see the timing of Antifa, it coincides with so much of what went wrong, including the pandemic. But you said something earlier that you and I totally agree on. There's no question in my mind that 2020 was stolen. So how much of Antifa's rise was due to a distraction play to distract people from proving beyond the shadow of a doubt, when you put on top of that COVID and the censorship and the power grab and all the rest of it, how much of Antifa is that perfect flash bomb grenade to distract us from the obvious election theft of 2020?
Well, the left knows how to work these groups, and they throw out, they toss them some money, and they point to a target, and then they take over after that. And that was the case with George Floyd, which could have just as easily have been explained. Everybody knew that he had a drug overdose and that he wasn't killed by this officer. I mean, after the autopsy was done, everybody knew it, but instead they just went full on with that same cover story. Cops are killing black people. Cops are killing black men, and they're targets. And it's why in the world would anyone feed that storyline, knowing that it's not true, that there are more white guys getting killed by cops than black guys?
Yeah,
and
it doesn't
the stats
sell.
are there.
They have to divide, right? You got to divide and conquer and the rest of it. But you've witnessed this so much in your life and through your career. And you've done things that I can't even imagine. You infiltrate Hamas to expose pipelines of weapons. When you see what's happening in the Middle East, how much of this that's killing or trying to kill our boys is bought and paid for by Americans and the pipeline of weapons being resold to the Islamo-Nazi?
Well, I can't speak to that directly, but we hear what we hear mostly is Trump started this war in Iran, and I keep reminding people, no, it started 47 years ago. Iran started this war, and they killed. Nobody. I get so frustrated when Republicans won't fight back by pointing out that Iran killed anywhere from 650 to over 1,000 American soldiers in Iraq. They killed them. They made the bombs, the V-beds and the IEDs. They made them to target American soldiers, and yet we let the left get away with saying Trump started a war in Iran, and he's actually the only president who's fought back against it. The war's been going on one-sided for all these years.
Well, only you and I remember when they held our diplomats for 444 days. You remember that countdown? You remember when they kidnapped when they sacked it in the first place and became the theocracy, let alone when Obama was president, how they made our sailors kneel. I'll tell you the truth. It's just it's amazing to watch how successful the propaganda is, which is why investigative reporters in the right spot with the fortitude, or as it's known in my neighborhood, the testicle fortitude, to write about it. Scott Wheeler, you are invaluable to the fight. ScottWheeler.substack.com, correct?
Yes, you are correct. Thanks so much, Shaun.
No, I look forward to shaking your hand in person. And the YouTube web page is, or the YouTube page is just Scott Wheeler?
Yeah, you can get it, Scott Wheeler, News Inquisitor. The Substack will take you to the YouTube video.
All right. Well, you stay safe. I always wanted to be James Bond, and you are. So thank you very much for making time for me.
Thank you so much, Shaun. Good to talk to you.
You too. We'll be back with your calls and comments.
Call Shaun now. 312-642-5600.
Have you seen videos of Russian floating folk dancers?
Floating Russian whoozy-watsits?
They wear long dresses so you can't see their feet, so it looks like they're gliding on air.
I've seen those videos. Impressive.
That reminds me of the dining chairs with the Brody table.
The Brody table is my favorite table at Penny Mustard.
You know, the unique design kind of resembles one of those Russian dancers.
You're right.
And check out these upholstered caster dining chairs.
I don't see any casters.
Precisely. It looks like the chair is gliding on air. Here, I'll show you. I can glide over here.
Ooh, nice.
And I can glide over there.
Be careful.
And I can...
Watch out!
I never was a very good dancer.
The Brody table, paired with 4 caster dining chairs, starting at $64.22 at Penny Mustard.
Now open in Algonquin.
PennyMustard.com.
Better versions of what people want.
Penny Mustard Furnishing.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1783, the Revolutionary War was nearly over, but America's future remained uncertain. Officers in the Continental Army were angry. Congress had failed to provide promised pay, and some considered using the Army's power to force the government's hand. George Washington understood their frustration, but he also knew the liberty they had fought to win could be destroyed by the very army that secured it. Washington confronted his officers and urged them to choose honor, patience, and loyalty to the Republic over rebellion. He could have used their anger to increase his own power. Instead, he used his influence to restrain it. Power asks what it can take. Character asks what duty requires. Washington's lesson still stands. Freedom survives when leaders place principle above ambition and remain faithful to God, country, and the people they serve.
When we talk about insurance, there are great insurance companies. There truly are. However, when you call that insurance company, they can only give you your price. When you call 708-328-5150, Class A insurance on the south side of Chicago, it was built by a father. Now the son answers the phone. Tommy at TJ Iaquinta. When you call there, they can surveil a bunch of insurance companies. They're licensed in Illinois, in Indiana, and Wisconsin. Whether you have a home, an investment property, a car, a boat, a motorcycle, you owe it to yourself to call 708-328-5150 and make certain you're not underinsured and overpaying. You want just the right insurance, and you want it at the right price. You want to look at 6 different companies to make sure you're getting that. That's what TJ can do. If you just call 708-328-5150 or online, if you're an online guy, very simple. We made it very simple because if we ask you to spell Iaquinta, very few people are going to get it right outside of Melrose Park or Elmwood Park. However, if you go to 560insurance.com, get a quote in minutes. You can set up a phone call where you'll talk to Tommy or TJ. Family-owned business, named number one in Chicagoland, in the top 25 in Chicagoland for the last 10 years. Take a look at it online, 560insurance.com, or call TJ and Tommy, 708-328-5150, to make certain you're insured properly on your home, on your investment property, on your car, your boat, your motorcycle. When we get back, 312-642-5600 after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom tonight, chance of a heavy thunderstorm and a low of 69. A powerful earthquake had shaken western Colombia and neighboring Ecuador. Ukraine attacked a petroleum hub in central Russia on Monday. The Illinois Office of Comptroller is investigating a cemetery in Chicago. Susana Mendoza announcing a probe into the crematory authority license at the Bohemian National Cemetery. Meantime, dozens of improperly stored bodies were removed from a Southside funeral home over the weekend. They were discovered last Thursday by state officials.
I'm really concerned about my nieces. For them to have an urn and they don't know who is there.
Cook County Medical Examiner is still trying to identify all of the remains at the South Chicago Chapel. White Sox will host the Reds tomorrow, while the Cubs will visit Washington. The news, a service of the AM 560 store, with T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands. When you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Your next news update is at 6. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the evening commute. In the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
It's trouble-free going outbound on the Edens, while the outbound Kennedy is a 45-minute trip out to O'Hare. Eisenhower 50, Post Office to 390. Stevenson outbound 35 to the Tri-State, 45 out to the Veterans Memorial Tollway. Southbound 55 still heavy into Arsenal from Route 59, but the crash at Arsenal is now off to the side. Outbound Dan Ryan 25 slowing in the Express 51st to Marquette. There are delays on DuSable Lakeshore Drive, both north and south, a little lighter than usual. On the Tri-State, you'll see tie-ups mainly southbound, northbound not bad. The Jane Addams, Reagan, and 355, those are lighter than usual as well. This report is a service of the daily podcast of Chicago's Morning Answer and the Shaun Thompson Show. Hear both shows with limited commercials when you subscribe for free to the daily podcast at 560theanswer.com/podcast. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible, which could lead to flooding, downpours, and localized damaging wind gusts. The low temperature will be around 70 degrees. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sunshine in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Time now for a check of the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
In northwest Indiana, regular no lead at the Amoco on US 30 in Cherryville is $3.09 a gallon. The Citgo on Wicker in St. John's is $3.17 a gallon. And the Sam's Club in Maryville has regular no lead for $3.22 a gallon.
If you see a low gas price, text the word gas to 312-642-5600, followed by the price and location. And listen each weekday afternoon at 12:30 and 5:30 to hear the lowest gas prices in Chicagoland.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Have you been watching gold and silver lately? Hard to ignore. Back in January of 2025, silver was under $30 an ounce, and now it's more than doubled. Again. Not bad, right? Some experts say this bull market is just getting started. Others say it's a good time to take some money off the table. Either way, whether you're buying or selling, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville is the place to go. They stock large quantities of all the major bullion coins and bars. And here's what sets them apart. Unlike places that only pay melt value, Fox Valley Coins pays more for high-grade coins and scarcer dates. That's real money left in your pocket. They also buy scrap sterling flatware, jewelry, silver-plated items, and old proof sets. And they specialize in U.S. and foreign collector and investment coins and currency, both buying and selling. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 on Route 59 at Ferry Road in Naperville. Family owned with integrity since 1981.
American Custom Flooring in Niles is hosting a one-day customer appreciation event. Enjoy free food and drinks from 9 to 3 on Saturday, August 22nd. Save big on all countertops, browse beautiful slabs on display, or peruse through hundreds of remnant pieces for smaller projects. If you've shopped for countertops before, you know the hassle. The person who sells the countertops isn't the one measuring, fabricating, or installing. At American Custom Flooring, your countertop orders are handled under one roof, and you'll work with the same person from start to finish. With a 20,000 square foot showroom and a 30,000 square foot warehouse, choose the perfect stone for your home. Plus, you won't pay for wasted material. Don't miss their one-day event, Saturday, August 22nd, or step into the showroom today, located just north of Howard and Caldwell in Niles. Learn more at AmericanFlooring.com. American Custom Flooring, your one-stop shop for flooring, cabinets, and countertops.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Classic cars, vintage motorcycles, gas pumps, drive up the value at auction. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
You know what you never heard at Studio 54? You never heard transgender. Never! It was a freak show from time to time. But the way in which they get us to use their language, these commie bastard scumbags. Trans-Tifa. Pam, Winter Springs, Florida.
Hey, Shaun, I'm not going to ask you if you remember me.
I confuse you. Well, here's the thing. I confuse you with this wonderful lady from New Jersey who called me and wanted me to go to the Villages. But go ahead.
No, my dad owned the bar in Elmwood Park 50 years ago.
Yes. Now I remember.
Yeah. I just want to let you know I planned my summer road trip so I could make it to Shaun Fest.
Oh, Pam, this is splendid news. And you're going to swing by the old neighborhood, see if you get robbed?
Oh, of course I'm going to swing by the old neighborhood.
Very
Don't worry,
good.
I'm taken care of there. I
Very
won't get
good.
robbed.
All right, good.
I'm in North Carolina right now. I've got about an hour left, and I'll be at the house. And I just wanted to thank you for keeping me company on this road trip because it's a long drive from Winter Springs to Chicago.
I know, but it's fun, and you stop along the way. You're going to have great barbecue. I'm a barbecue guy. You stop in all the southern states, hit the barbecue. This is good time. And make sure you come up. All right, I want to give you a hug when I see you.
I will, and you know what? I have my Shaun book. The book you wrote, so I hope you sign it for me.
Absolutely. There's no hoping. I'll sign it. I can't wait to do it, all right?
All right. I'll see you then.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
See, Squirrel, we got eight states now people are coming from. 8 states. All you got to do is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. Register to be there. It's not socialist, but it's free. What's free? You do have to buy your own food. We're not commies. You do have to buy your own drink. But if you register, we'll know just how many people are there to do it. And the food is fantastic there. Get yourself a room. Have a good time. When we get back, I'm not going anywhere. What are you kidding, Squirrel? I wanted to talk about this Trans-Tifa nonsense and who finances it. You see, the money that is laundered through nonprofits, through grants, through NGOs, that's our fracking money. You know who uncoupled financial reality from these so-called organizations? Barack, who's married to a Bigfoot broad, I guess. Nonetheless, you don't want to roll over and see that drooling on a pillow. But he made it possible for just nonprofits to more than double.
It's very problematic when you see such a large increase, and there doesn't seem to be any accountability with the money going to the nonprofits.
Taxpayer money going to nonprofits has more than doubled in the past decade, with hundreds of billions of dollars going to programs and salaries.
Nonprofits should survive based upon the goodwill of people, not the forced taking of taxpayer dollars.
Now throw in grants. where over 70% cannot be traced to where the money went. Trans-Tifa. Tony, Riverside.
You at the fest. I'm bringing my husband.
Oh, wonderful.
How did you allow Rod Blagojevich to perform at the Elmwood Park Fest?
I didn't allow. I have nothing to do with that. I wasn't even in town. Kidding me? Was he there again? Was he there again? That's like his big deal.
He was doing Elvis.
Oh, God. How much do you have to hate yourself to watch that? I mean, I'm dead serious. I mean, you got to be out of your freaking... I'll tell you what. That's the difference between Elmwood and Melrose. He would have never made it in the Melrose Park Feast. Never. Elmwood Park, they were always softer than us, and you could tell him I said so. All right? Rod Blagojevich.
Right,
and please, if he doesn't marry Dick Mel's daughter, you know what he's doing? Would you like insurance on this rent-a-car? If he's lucky, him and his bust-out, half-ass wannabe gangster brother. Two scumbags. But then again, how'd they make their money? Through government swindles and policies of plunder. I guess if you cut enough guys in, you could still show your chipmunk face around.
This will blow your mind. I'm standing outside of Churla. Churla here has received over $80 million from the government. And if they pass the Stop Nick Shirley Act, AB 2624, it would then be illegal for me to be making this video right now.
Well, they did, because California all mobbed up. Like Chirac, stealing money in the form of policies. And then if you get caught, don't worry. Go to the Taste and sing Elvis Presley like some asshat. Rod Blagojevich. What a piece of dung. You know what I remember about Rod Blagojevich? When he was so proud of himself for being a Democrat mafia don. 2008, proud of himself. Back then, you know what we used to know? 2008, Chicago was a joke. Cook County, Illinois. Illinois was a joke even then, way before then. But you know what you could never get in Cook County or Chicago? An honest count on a vote. And Rod Blagojevich loved it. And all the Democrats did. I even remember when John McCain would argue again. You remember John McCain? He's the reason we still have Obamacare. May he burn.
We have to investigate these, not only allegations, there's evidence that there's been voter fraud going on in the battleground states primarily. Even, I'm told, in the state of Nevada, they've had shut down their offices.
That was your state. That was essential in stealing the election, like so many Republicans who wanted those days of the illusion. The illusion where you could pretend, you know what, Christopher Wray's not bad. He's a Republican. Isn't he a Republican? As he jets off to the Adirondack to meet the dingbat wife while she's on vacation.
Wow, actually, that's actually what he wrote on social media, a story we broke here this morning on Just the News. The Biden-era FBI, the one that Chris Wray oversaw, made more than $150,000 in payments to informants who were members of an anonymous group of tech sleuths known as the Sedition Hunters to gather and analyze video evidence in the January 6th Capitol riot and then that controversial Arctic frost probe. Now, they made these payments and they treated members of this group as confidential human sources, despite the fact that the group was extraordinarily anti-Trump, had a strong anti-Trump fervor, anti-Republican fervor, and that it had...
You know who else they financed? Antifa, Trans-Tifa. The same frauds that perpetrated the vandalism at January 6th. The same ones, all paid for by Obama, Biden-era tax dollars. See, it was during Obama's first two terms that they uncoupled the responsibility of finance, and they turned debt into the very money that was funneled back to these organizations. And you know who knew it? The FBI. Yeah, you did. And the CIA.
Known ties to foreigners. This is all according to FBI memos that Just the News obtained and reviewed. Now, government officials said the group members were first engaged as early as a few days after the Capitol riot as informants, and that the relationship continued over 3 years. It involved about $150,000 of payments. One of those payments was approved by Jack Smith, the former special prosecutor who pursued Donald Trump. And tomorrow, will be testifying on Capitol Hill. I bet some lawmakers are going to have some questions now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. What are you going to... You're in contempt of Congress. Like Eric Holder? The only people who ever pay any repercussions for being in contempt of Congress are Donald Trump supporters. 312-642-5600.
Broadcasting from the petri dish of corruption known as the state of Illinois.
In the upper Midwest, the nation, and around the world.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
I know you've heard the line, "We're on a mission from God." Here in Chicago, that means something. But for me, it's real. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I'm on a mission from God to help business owners achieve their American dream. Because every day I see the same thing. Unfiled returns, confusing numbers, IRS letters stacking up. Not because business owners are doing anything wrong, but because they're overwhelmed. Here's what I've learned after helping hundreds of business owners. There is always a solution, but you can't reach it until you take control. That's why I built a system to take you from chaos to control. Go to fightbacknow.com and get started. I'll show you exactly what to do, step by step. No guessing, no confusion, just a clear path forward. Go to fightbacknow.com and I'll send you my new book, Fight Back Now, Freedom Through Preparation. Just cover the shipping. I'll take care of the rest. Or if you want to talk to someone right now, call 312-664-6649. Fightbacknow.com, because chaos is the only thing standing in your way.
Rick Borick talks about the risk of being in the stock market right near retirement.
It's easy to drive around with no seatbelt on if you never think you're going to have an accident, right? And you go, well, it's never going to go down. I don't need protection for my portfolio. We're a big fan of getting those gains, but we're also a bigger fan of not taking huge losses.
Unleash your wealth, Saturday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1783, the Revolutionary War was nearly over, but America's future remained uncertain. Officers in the Continental Army were angry. Congress had failed to provide promised pay, and some considered using the Army's power to force the government's hand. George Washington understood their frustration, but he also knew the liberty they had fought to win could be destroyed by the very army that secured it. Washington confronted his officers and urged them to choose honor, patience, and loyalty to the Republic over rebellion. He could have used their anger to increase his own power. Instead, he used his influence to restrain it. Power asks what it can take. Character asks what duty requires. Washington's lesson still stands. Freedom survives when leaders place principle above ambition and remain faithful to God, country, and the people they serve.
AM 560, The Answer.
Are you lonesome? Lonesome or lonesome? He wasn't singing the Democrats outside of that ghetto song, huh, Squirrel? We've got a lot of news that broke over the weekend, speaking of lonesome. Where's the guy with the barbecue on his balcony, started a forest fire and burned 400,000 acres? Who's giving these Democrats barbecues?
New developments now in that huge fire at a condo complex in Foster City, and today a man was arrested in connection with that fire.
ABC 7 Eyewitness News reporter Gloria Rodriguez joins us live now
How
with
do you
more
like your
details.
hamburger?
Gloria.
Yes, we're not releasing the name of the man who's been arrested at this time.
Can you just please release his political affiliation? I've got all the money I'm worth times 2 that he's a registered Democrat. Anybody want to take that action?
Because he hasn't appeared in court yet. But I was out here Monday. I was covering the fire, and I interviewed him about how his mother and her caretaker were able to escape. And I texted with him today.
Well?
He tells me he's going to advise with his attorney before talking to me again. Meanwhile, residents are continuing to deal with so much loss.
708-222-2222.
Residents emotional as they saw the scope of the fire damage to their condo building on Sea Spray Lane in Foster City. Entire units gutted, parts of the building charred, walls blown out, damaged kids' school supplies now on the ground. Foster City police arresting a man suspected of causing the Sunday fire that destroyed 51 units, affecting some 150 residents and injuring 4 firefighters. Police say the blaze was caused by an unattended gas grill on a balcony.
We've heard that rumor from...
You gotta wash it. Hey, moron. You don't let the cheese just on the thing. It starts a fire, you frackin' stupid son of a...
Day one, and it's very upsetting. And of course, I think now, I hope that the other tenants will be diligent about, use of anything,
What other tenants? They're all burned up. Fred, you cannot live among them. That's why, Squirrel, all your neighbors should have a D or an R. Register. Let them know who you're living around. Because the ones with the D, they're dangerous. And by the way, they're liars.
Now to a scandal rocking one of the world's oldest and most prestigious universities. A Cambridge professor's high-profile academic career and inspirational backstory now in ruins over escalating allegations of plagiarism and lying.
Professor Milli Vanilli, and he looks like a backup singer. Did you lie? Did you lie to become a professor like every other rat Democrat, not just the ones who go to Epstein Island?
Holly Williams has the story tonight.
Larry Summers.
I'm Professor of Sociology of Education at the University of Cambridge.
3 years ago, Jason Arday became the youngest ever black professor appointed at Cambridge University, an 800-year-old institution.
Professor Jason Arday joins us now.
Hey, you know who can ruin an 800-year-old institution? A Democrat. Just like they can ruin an apartment complex with a barbecue.
He was interviewed about the achievement on CBS News.
If I'm being absolutely candid and honest, not many teachers at school had any belief in me.
Now Arday has fallen from grace, accused of plagiarizing some of his academic writing and lying about claims he ran 600 miles in 6 days to raise...
Sure you did. Hey, don't worry. There's always the presidency. You can always become the president of the United States.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
Yeah. And you stole an election. Don't worry, Cambridge professor of nothing. There's always politics.
Money for charity. The scandal's front-page news here in the UK, and the former professor of sociology of education has now...
You know why, Squirrel? If you're going to fake anything, it's that you're a smart professor. All you have to do is say you are. You don't have to work. You don't have to achieve anything. Just keep spewing nonsense, and you might end up in the White House.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
Sure you will. Then you ran 600 miles to raise money for kids, you lying bastards. We'll be back.
Your neighbor Linda loves summers in Chicago, but she hated to paint year after year, so she called Rhino Shield.
The house was built 42 years ago. We've had a paint job, and the paint was flicking off. And I just saw the commercials on TV for Rhino Shield. They said it was guaranteed for like 25 years, and I thought, well, let me just give them a call.
And Rhino Shield is formulated specifically for our unique climate here in Chicago.
We did the Rhino Shield under the roof line, and I had several French doors, without the windows, so they did the Rhino Shield and the garage door. Just one man worked on it, and he was so detailed, and he did a super job.
Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
I would highly recommend Rhino Shield. It's a very good company. Oh, and neighbors, they were all impressed with it. And I said, well, Rhino Shield, I've got their phone number.
This offer is for a limited time, so call now, 847-850-1132 or ChicagoRhinoShield.com.
Go Rhino Shield. Your kitchen's outdated. Your bathroom feels cramped. Every day you wait, prices go up. And you keep living in a space that doesn't work. At Forever Remodeling, one team handles everything. Design, planning, and installation, start to finish. We show you your new space in 3D before we ever break ground. No surprises. With flexible financing options, the home you want is closer than you think. Visit foreverremodeling.com. That's the number 4, everremodeling.com to schedule your personalized in-home design consultation.
Welcome back to Ask Hassleus.
This is the Sheriff's Office. We have a report of missing employees at Hassleus Mattress.
Yes, Hassleus Mattress showrooms are employee-free.
You're confessing?
That's how we keep our prices way low. And through Monday, trade in your old mattress and take $248 off a queen and $348 off a king.
Sounds suspicious.
Free next-day delivery, too.
Dispatch, I need a police escort for a Hassleus Mattress delivery truck to my house.
Find an employee-free showroom near you at Hassleus.com.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal. Book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
We work a lifetime to build a legacy for our families. But the most enduring gift you can give them is the peace of mind you provide when they need it most. When you pre-plan your arrangements at Catholic Cemeteries of Chicago, you replace the weight of uncertainty with the gift of clarity. Secure today's costs and protect your family from making emotional and financial decisions at the time of need. It's a final act of love they'll never forget. Visit CatholicCemeteryChicago.org or call 708-236-5400.
Hey, y'all, I'm Willie Robertson.
And I'm Corey Robertson.
We partnered with Echo. It's a new platform, not just streaming.
Movies and series that are safe for your family.
Echo.
I love a podcast.
Plus, Echo Daily Devotionals.
Echo. Hey, Willie, what is Echo?
Echo is my pet squirrel.
Okay, Doc. Echo is not just faith-friendly, it is faith-driven.
Be a part of something better.
Echo.
Echo.
That's where I want to be.
That's EKKL.com.
Subscribe now.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
Thousands and thousands and thousands of corporations that do nothing but extort the people who work in the name of the people that don't work. You could argue, call it socialism. It's really nothing other than theft. You know who knows this? A doctor of economics. My next guest is that doctor of economics, and I am going to get to the root issue. If the people just receive money, what are they good for? We'll discuss that and more with E.J. Antonia, the Heritage Foundation, after Foxweiser.
They should pay us. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump is demanding compensation from Iran as part of the deal to end the conflict.
Iran is asking for compensation, President Trump says, for damage done to the country as a result of U.S. airstrikes. So President Trump says he's also asking for compensation for what Iran has done to Americans.
Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people.
Speaking with reporters in the Oval Office, the president also suggested compensation for families of Iranian protesters killed by the regime. President Trump also says a major escalation by the U.S. military remains an option.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. This afternoon, the president signed an executive order calling for childhood vaccines to be spaced out. He claims children are getting too many vaccines at once.
Where they have a vaccination that looks like the size of a bottle of soda poured into a little child's body.
One of the recommendations, splitting up the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine and prioritizing 11 vaccines. The current number is 18. The president and HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. both again suggested a link between vaccines and autism, though decades of studies have concluded there is no link. 34,000 texts from Dr. Anthony Fauci's government phone have just been released. Wisconsin Republican Ron Johnson says they contradict public statements Fauci made about the COVID vaccine.
Johnson says in January 2021, Fauci wrote to top health officials, quote, "Many people have significant cytokine storm and fever after the second dose of the COVID vaccine. That is inflammation." Fauci also appears to say it could be associated with miscarriage in the first trimester.
Fox's Chad Pergram on Capitol Hill. America's listening to Fox News.
How can you get from here to there? We've got the answer from the AM 560 Traffic Center.
On the Edens going out, no reported delays. The Kennedy 40 minutes out to O'Hare from the Jane Byrne interchange. Eisenhower 45 minutes, post office to 390. Going out on the Stevenson, it looks better. 38 minutes to Saba Lakeshore Drive to 355. Outbound Ryan 18 minutes, slowing in the Express Garfield to Marquette. Slowing on the outbound Ford as well, 115th to the Steel Bridge. Heavy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive, both north and south. Tollways lighter than usual. Southbound Tri-State, though, that one is heavy. Reagan and 355, not too bad. Slowing down westbound 80 Richards to Center. This report is the service of the AM 560 Advantage. Membership has its privileges, including early access to event tickets, exclusive contest opportunities, and special members-only content. Join today at 560theanswer.com/join. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchak.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible. The storms could bring flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. The low will be around 70. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sun in the afternoon. The high will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Progressive presents Heroes That Keep Truckers Going. Today's hero, the true crime podcaster you listen to during a long haul. Yes, you may never look at a pair of pliers the same way again, or your spouse using pliers. But boy, you were entertained. Thanks, hero. Another thing that can keep truckers going, Progressive Truck Insurance with primary liability limits up to $2 million. Get a quote at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. $2 million limit is not available in all states.
Hey, it's Scott Tucker and my new co-host,
Amy Jacobson,
on AM 560. We wanted you to know that we have a special show every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. here on AM 560, The Answer. It is Retirement Decoded with Scott Tucker and
Amy Jacobson.
It's every Sunday morning from 7 to 9 a.m. 2-hour show, 2-hour radio extravaganza. Amy, we're going to tantalize the listening public and the listening private with all kinds of retirement planning information. So tune in at AM 560 Sunday mornings at 7 a.m.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation. This is the Gulf of America cruise. 7 days through the Caribbean with Mike Gallagher, Scott Jennings, Larry O'Connor, Jennifer Horn, and a ship full of people who love this country. No packing and unpacking, no complicated planning, just great destinations, meaningful conversations, and a once-in-a-generation celebration of America's 250th. This November, be there. Text CRUISE to 94878 to book your cabin today. Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Shaun Thompson. And this is The Shaun Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line.
So who makes up the difference?
Yeah. You want me to hold your banana or you got it?
You know what? That'll be great.
All right. I've never held someone's banana so they could sign my petition before.
It's one thing to hold a banana. It's another thing to buy it for somebody who hates you. My next guest knows there is no such thing as socialism. There's just theft in the name of some virtuous recipient of your welfare. I don't think it works too well. Dr. E.J. Antonio, the Heritage, you handsome devil. What exactly is the schematic or the financial principle of socialism? Can you tell me?
Shaun, I would say it's theft. It's probably the simplest way to put it, right?
By cowards. By cowards who don't have the ambition, to steal from you directly. Mm-hmm. They want the government to do it.
Right. And it's so insane, Shaun, to hear these people talk about how they're going to run these grocery stores with 30% discounts. You're talking about an industry with a roughly 2% profit margin, so the taxpayer gets hosed and takes a 28% loss. on this stuff. And that's assuming that the grocery store is actually well run, like an Aldi's, like a Gristedes, like a Walmart in New York City, which obviously it's New York City, so it won't be well run.
But it's the same sad story of the promises of services, the promises of goods, and the name that there is somehow a way in which this corporation that produces nothing, that delivers nothing, called a municipality, can deliver it rather than what they really are, policies of plunder. And, you know, there was a time, EJ, when we were young, and I didn't have thinning in the back, which I tell everyone is a colic, where there was talk of privatizing all of them, from the street department to the landscapers to every service, because it would then have the reality of a private economy, when now all you have growing in mismanaged, corrupt areas is government. And it isn't a socialist movement. It's not a communist movement. It's a Soviet movement. They're promising a Soviet Union. And sooner or later, we're going to have to discuss it for what it is. And it's kind of refreshing to hear them admit they're going to have to destroy the republic to do it, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. And, you know, look, this is not their first bite at the apple either. You know, Chicago tried these government-run grocery stores as well, right? Same thing with places like Kansas City, and then obviously there are tons of examples outside the United States as well. But if you go back to New York City, Shaun, we forget that they already did this with public transit, right? Where you had a transit system that was privately run, the government takes it over, and it goes from making a profit to a loss. And they've had to cut back services. They've had to cut back not just the quantity, but the quality of service as well. And you're going to see exactly the same thing here. It starts with the confiscation of private property and the destruction of property rights, and thereby it eliminates the whole incentive to earn a profit, which is ultimately to serve your fellow man. And that is why service always gets worse in these government takeovers, not better. You can put aside all the marketing, all the smiles of the charismatic Mamdani. At the end of the day, it's about policy, not personality. And as long as the policies are this terrible, it doesn't matter how great these guys' personalities are. The results are going to be exactly the same. They will be terrible. What you're going to end up with here, Shaun, sure, you're going to have a couple of months of cheap bananas. Sure, of course you will. But in the long run, it's going to be closures of grocery stores. This is going to drive out marginal stores. It's going to cause planned stores to just cancel their development, that is. And so New Yorkers are going to end up having to take 2 trains and a bus to actually get out of real food deserts, not just imagined ones, and get to a real grocery store.
Well, you know, the same thing happens, EJ, with the illusion of services paid for by government in the name of food stamps. The greatest example, once again, is the Democrat areas, but more specifically, Illinois, Chicago. Chicago gets $1.5 billion a year in just food stamps. Yet grocery stores go out of business. And the reason is you give to people of low character who you say are unfit and unable to make their own money. But they are not actually buying food with the bulk of those food stamps. They're selling them for pennies on the dollar. So the system that is implemented now is a failure and a fraud and an illusion that destroys the restaurant, the grocery store business, and this other name of services of entrusting people who are financial illiterates or they're just good for nothing with the idea that they aren't. And we keep rewarding and we keep throwing money. Ultimately, we're going to have to make the true argument that if you cannot manage your own finances, you're really not an asset to anybody. In fact, you are the definition of a liability, which is the beauty of what we're living through. Even though it's tragic and expensive in the cost of it, it's very obvious that in these specific areas, the people cannot be considered an asset to their town, their county, their state, but moreover, their country. Can they? Why is it the same system that just gets more expensive unless the real problem is we have an entire tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people who are really good for nothing?
Well, I think what they're good for is a vote, right? This is I think the fundamental difference here. For the politician, they don't look at people as an economic unit. They look at them as a voter. And so it doesn't matter to the politician if this person is economically productive. Are they productive in the sense of them being a voter? In other words, if they'll vote for me, then that's good. If they're not going to vote for me, then this person is useless. It doesn't matter if the individual is the next great inventor or entrepreneur or innovator. It doesn't matter if this person develops some life-saving medical cure or the next great invention, the replacement for the iPhone or a viable electric car, whatever the case may be, right? None of that matters. What matters to the politician, again, it's not economic vitality. It's just simply the voter as a voter, right? The person's vote is all that matters to them. And so as long as that system remains, as we have kind of drifted away from a republic to a democracy, I think that's going to exacerbate the problem, right? Back when you had, you didn't have direct election of senators, for example, I think that was a very good thing. You had all these different parts of government that all had different constituencies, right? Representatives had a different constituency from senators, had a different constituency from state legislatures, from governors, from presidents, even from Supreme Court justices. That was all a very good thing.
Well, and here's the other issue. I believe the lack of resistance from Americans who should be, in fact, suing these very entities, these corporations. We call them governments, but they're really corporations, especially on the municipal level. And they should be suing them for eroding the covenant between the federal government and the American citizen, which is the bundle of rights of property. As I talk to you right now in Illinois, a town that is really the picture of self-hatred called Evanston, Illinois. This is the town that tried to pretend that they were somehow perpetrators of the slavery and they were offering reparations. Right now, they're trying to tax property owners for vacancies. So they've eroded every principle, every right in the bundle of rights of the American real estate owner, which is completely different than the rest of the world. Here, we are a country built on the property rights of the citizen, not the extortion rights of the corporation called their municipality. So ultimately, there has to be an organization, such as the Heritage, such as Landmark Legal, such as Pick Somebody, to organize and sue these corporations for what they are. They're not, Immune Sovereignty might be players in the corporation, but the corporation itself is bound to law. Why are so few Americans understanding that they have corporations instead of governments? They're local arms of government, but they still are corporations. And they themselves are bound by law and have to abide by the law that protects your rights. I'm amazed at how many of the owners of real estate are taking it in New York, are taking it in Evanston or Chicago or California. Ultimately, do they not have rights? Have these municipalities, these incorporations, have these vestibules of corruption found a way to circumvent the American covenant with the citizen?
Well, I mean, Shaun, to a certain extent, I hate to say this, I really do. But to a certain extent, I think they kind of have found a way around all of that. Because if you look at what Mamdani just did in New York, where he doxed all of these very wealthy individuals, right? In terms of their real estate holdings with trying to tax second properties. I mean, that was genuinely horrible. And yes, I understand that all of that information is technically publicly available. I get it. But it's a lot of work for people to go through the massive residential rolls in New York and actually find things like people's second homes. Okay, that is not something that's very easy to do. It would be incredibly time consuming. And it also would be unclear, I think, to a lot of folks what the actual worth of so many of these property is, and therefore those folks' tax liability. But the fact that they did all of that, why was it done? It was done to inspire fear, right? It was done for the same reason anybody gets doxxed. It's to try to put a target on the person's back so that somebody who gets hyped up from all the violent rhetoric on the left ends up acting on that and doing something terrible, a la what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Well, you know what's fascinating, too, is these people of means that would put the property in their name. And, you know, this is a regulation that was passed years and years ago. You didn't have to put it in your name. You could put it, you still don't if you organize a trust or an LLC, but you lose the tax advantage of homestead if that's the case. But people who have second homes and whatnot, they put it in LLCs or they put it in trusts, like the Pritzkers. Ironclad Trust pays no taxes. But you see all of these people who supposedly are these intellects in New York City who had the property in their name with their proper address. And there was a time when you had the right of privacy in this country. We've allowed this to be eroded as well. It was only a handful of, 30 years ago, where these municipalities and organizations that are supposed to represent you mandated you disclose every dollar, every aspect. And I can't help but notice in all of the so-called economic issues in real estate, like the big crash where 9% of the people were delinquent on their mortgages, they use that as an opportunity to strip the anonymity away from the American citizen as they fight for the anonymity of the illegal, who gets so much of these benefits without ever really disclosing who he is or who he was or with any very proof. So at a certain point, it's our fault for 30 years ago, not fighting for our right to privacy, which allegedly we're guaranteed. And yet, where do we have it if we want to be a functioning citizen who earns money honestly and plays by the rules as they're set, as they keep setting rules to take away the very property rights we're guaranteed?
Shaun, I think you bring up a great point. Every time we see one of these assaults on liberty, which is what they are, every time we see a small erosion of our rights, be that right to privacy, be that property rights, it only emboldens the bureaucrats to just take it one step further. And that's sadly, I think, what has been happening. If you look at, essentially, ever since something like the Fed was created, right? What has happened to the purchasing power of the dollar? The creature from Jekyll Island just slowly erodes it a little more and a little more 1 year after the next. If you're talking about the kinds of infringements on privacy and property rights that you were just articulating, again, I think it's the same mechanism. It's death by 1,000 cuts.
Well, one of the fascinating things to watch is the stupidity, and I don't just mean the weekend numbers of how many Democrats shoot other Democrats in these big cities like Chicago, but the stupidity of the people who would consider themselves Democrats, as the oligarchs like J.B. Pritzker in Illinois is a perfect example, pretends to give a tax holiday simultaneously with increasing sales taxes on different counties just to fund the Chicago public school systems. So the way in which they manipulate the ignorance of the citizens, and they have this, and Republicans are guilty of this. Republicans that are supposedly on our side making the argument. They argue with the premise of everybody lives in areas that tax things 2 and 3 times, like in Illinois or in New York or California or New Jersey. When the reality is the difference in states is what the side that isn't socialist doesn't want the Democrat mafia to succeed. Why is it that the Republicans in general, and you go on these news shows, I just paid for the middle grade, not the premium. I just paid today $3.71. I talked to a buddy of mine in Chicago for the lowest octane gas in Illinois. He's paying $4.35 or some ridiculous amount of money. The majority, the difference only is in taxes. In most cases, taxes on taxes. And yet we allow these Democrats who have destroyed these areas. California is the greatest example in the shortest period of time. New York and Chicago have been on their way for 100 years. They like it corrupt. But when you see California paying the highest taxes on the very essential energy of all kinds, the idea that they still are in the running just tells me that people are truly illiterate to what they're living through, even though they pretend to be in a democracy.
Well, I think it tells you everything, Shaun, that people living in California, somebody like Gavin Newsom, talk about how high gas prices are Trump's fault. In other words, that Californians are paying the most in terms of per gallon of anyone in the entire country. They will listen to Gavin Newsom and actually believe him. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom is the reason why taxes are so high in that state, especially taxes on gas and diesel. And so that really, I think, speaks to a lack of critical thinking skills on the part of people who are willing to swallow that nonsense and actually go along with it. Because, Shaun, you're absolutely right. Places like Illinois, like California, and also throw New York in there as well, who have these very, very high gasoline taxes, of course, they're going to be paying much more for fuel. It's a pretty easy correlation, right? That's not hard to do that math. Now, do you have certain instances, places like Alaska and Hawaii, where there are other extraneous factors like the Jones Act, which artificially increases transportation costs and therefore is going to increase the cost of getting fuel to those places? Yes, absolutely. The differential from one state to another is not based solely on taxes. I don't hear anyone making that argument. But again, it is very clearly the case that the taxes are what accounts for the bulk of the difference from one state to another. When you can go anywhere up and down the Illinois-Indiana state line, and you can find gas stations on each side that end up having roughly the same differential anywhere along that state line, that tells you everything you need to know.
I'm so amazed at these areas that bankrupt themselves, because what we really discuss, you and I, on a weekly basis, and it's very evident that this is the issue, are self-induced financial collapses. These problems we discuss, these are very specific, and they're very orchestrated because they are regulated into bankruptcy. They are regulating the financial distress on their citizens. And when I say they, I'm very specific. These are Democrat areas specifically that have these policies of plunder. And when you look at the schemes in which they're able to do, here's my argument. When I hear these imbeciles, these fat people on the Democrat Soviets of America, socialists, whatever the hell they are, or AOC and the rest of them, and they keep promising this socialism. Why is it that we say, we don't say, I should say, when you talk about a Democrat area, it's already socialist. It has been for 40 years. And the problems are on the problems. And I think too few people, because they compartmentalize the mafia.
Talking.
Did you hear me?
We keep talking. I can. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So we keep talking, Shaun, about capitalism and the failures of capitalism, right? But the fact of the matter is, that what we have in so many instances isn't even capitalism. In other words, when people today complain about the cost of living and how capitalism has failed and all these different unequal outcomes, invariably, in each of those instances, the very things that those folks are complaining about, especially young people, they're not failures of capitalism at all. In fact, they were interventions by government that disrupted the natural mechanisms of capitalism, prevented finding any kind of equilibrium. They prevent market entrance, for example, from increasing competition and reducing prices. These are all things that are the result not of too much capitalism or unfettered capitalism. It's not a lack of regulation. It's not that taxes are too low or the rich aren't paying their fair share. Nonsense. In each of these instances, and I can give you a couple really good examples, it is the result of government involvement in the market, not a lack of government. Where is it, for example, that things are most outrageously expensive, they're most unaffordable? Things like housing. What's more regulated than the housing market? Things like education. Where has there been more government involvement and more government attempts to, quote unquote, help than in education? And then what about medical care? Another incredibly expensive part of our economy where the growth of prices has greatly outstripped the growth of incomes. Again, these are all areas where you have the most government involvement in the economy. So once more, it is not that capitalism has failed us. It is that government intervention is disrupting the natural outcomes that we would have in capitalism, which is actually more quantity and more quality, better quality, and lower prices for consumers.
So I want you to tell the eggheads at Heritage, this is the greatest example of fear-mongering because there already is communism in America. And I'm going to once again take the benefit of being from the communist capital in America, the mafia capitals in America, communist capital. And that is the idea that they have just passed on 5 counties a 0.25% tax increase just for Chicago public schools. But the most important part of this is it was only been since 2017 that Rahm Emanuel, in conjunction with a convicted gangster by the name of Mike Madigan and Ed Burke, orchestrated it so that the entire state of Chicago is liable for just the Chicago public school system. Since that time, the cost per pupil has gone up more than 100% since 2017, okay? And now you're passing taxes on taxes of people who have never, in some cases, been to Chicago, let alone ever will go to Chicago. And the idea that there isn't a national pushback on this, as we are distracted with the fact that these new fat people and ugly people calling themselves the Democrat, the Soviets of America, Socialists of America, are promising communism. When you have it, and we have it, and in 9 years, in just the Chicago public school system, costs have gone up over 100%, but moreover, taxes on taxes have gone up 300%. And they break it down just 0.25 on top of a 0.175, on top of a 0.5. You know what I mean? They've already done this. Heritage needs to expose this to the country because the system as it exists is what Yuri Bezmenov warned us of. When you compartmentalize the destruction, the reality and the abuse and the atrocity of the failure isn't shared by the nation. If the country knew what just happened in Illinois to finance the most incompetent, corrupt school system in the country called Chicago Public Schools, I think we could stop it. Will you expose it, E.J. Antoni, Doctor of Economics?
Shaun, I will do my best. You have my word.
All right. There's a cigar in it at Shaun Fest when I see you. Thank you, brother, for always making time.
Oh.
Yeah, come on,
My
you know, and
pleasure.
I bring the heat. I bring the good cigars. I'm not going to give you some $2 liquor store cigar. It's going to be a good one. Thank you,
Looking
babe.
forward to it, my man.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
This is the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Dr. Huber with Virago, the immune enhancement cocktail. Back when the government was suppressing other forms of therapy for COVID and many doctors were being persecuted for stepping up, we felt the absolute necessity to act. That's why I developed Virago during the pandemic, to give people a powerful way to strengthen their immune system and fight back. Since then, feedback from users has shown us that Virago helps with so much more than what we originally anticipated, bringing relief and improvement to people dealing with allergies, asthma, autoimmune diseases by supporting a healthy immune function. Join me Friday, August 28th at Shaun Fest. Tune in or come by and hear me interviewed by the great Shaun Thompson, a true patriot, for a conversation you won't want to miss.
Order your bottle of Virago today. Visit myvirago.com. Use the coupon code IMMUNE to save 30%. Maha and Virago, making America healthy again.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Hi, I'm Ken Mariotti, owner of Woodland Windows and Doors, a third-generation family-owned business since 1969. We know you're bombarded by choices when shopping for new windows or doors, so we're inviting you to experience the Woodland difference. For decades, we have been transforming living spaces with Marvin Windows, a fifth-generation family business. Marvin replacement windows have been known to increase the warmth of your cold rooms by 10 degrees. Think about that, 10 degrees warmer. When you welcome Woodland into your home, you will get a product expert to transform your living spaces, full-time, dedicated professional installers that you can trust in your home, along with the best products like Marvin. These are the reasons we're proud of our 5-star reviews and family legacy. No gimmicks, no pressure, and upfront pricing are why Woodland Windows and Doors is your trusted window and door expert in Chicagoland. Visit woodlandwindows.com to book your free in-home expert consultation. That's woodlandwindows.com, or stop by our showroom at the corner of Lake and Geary in Roselle.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
My mother was always trying to get me, Squirrel, to go to the family picnic. You know, it was in summertime and would be someplace and all the family from all around the country. She'd be like, come on, Ma, are there going to be Democrats? Are there going to be Democrats there? Then I'm not going. That's what I love about Shaun Fest. It's that family picnic, only it's our family. There will be no, listen to me, there will be no Democrats. Not only because they set fires when they barbecue, you don't want to order your food from them. This is because it's our little family party. It's called Shaun Fest, and it's really a combination of so many events we have all together. We do the show live from there. Squirrel's going to be there in a fantastic shirt. Honey Bunny will be there, and you'll be there. Every guest will be there. I'm going to get there around 3 o'clock. It's happening on Friday, August 28th at the Lakeside Pavilion, which is just behind the Westin in Itasca, which is an incredible venue. Get a hotel room. We've got people coming from 8 states. And all you have to do to register is go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. ShaunFest. Altogether, no spaces. That's it. Register so we know how much food to have available, because it will be available. Know how much alcohol to have available. The bar will be open. I'll do the non-alcohol. You can do the alcohol. It's a free world, free country. And it's very rare that all the people who love freedom and liberty and Americanism are in one place in Illinois, Stan. So if you're one of the people who are suffering under oppression and you want to be among like-minded family members, it's that simple. 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest, sponsored in part by our great sponsors. By the way, Arlington Heights Pipe and Tobacco will be where I'm buying the cigar to give EJ. Don't get nervous. I'm a capitalist at heart. They'll be there. Donley will be there. Virago, Dr. Huber will be there, leaving i-l.com, who can help you make a plan to get, if not yourself, your kids out. And also, Anthony DeGrotto from State Farm Insurance will be there. Unique Wooden Flags will be there. Class A Insurance by Tommy and TJ Iaquinta will be there, and so much more. But you have to be there. Just go to 560theanswer.com/ShaunFest. When we get back, Verlon will lead us off in Michigan. That'll be after Mike Scott.
Good evening, Shaun. In our QC Kinetics newsroom, we see a chance for a powerful thunderstorm overnight and a low of 69. Bally's Chicago's suspending construction on part of its permanent casino development in River West. Company announcing the pause as a dispute over a potential expansion of video gambling terminals in the city continues. Philanthropist and businessman Willie Wilson announcing plans to launch his 4th campaign for Chicago mayor.
It ain't about Republican or Democratic, it ain't about black or white, it ain't about nothing. It's about human beings, trying to make sure we do what we put on earth here to do, and that is to serve others.
Wilson joins the field with at least 10 other candidates. A powerful earthquake shakes western Colombia and neighboring Ecuador with a 7.4 magnitude, serious injuries, and major damage to buildings. And the news, a service of the AM 560 store. T-shirts, hoodies, and more from your favorite AM 560 brands when you go to 560theanswer.com/store. Your next news update is at 7. Continuous news, traffic, and weather at 560theanswer.com. And up next, a check of the evening commute. In the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jill Urchak.
Good afternoon. Going out on the Edens, that is delay-free. The Kennedy out to O'Hare from the Jane Byrne interchange, 35 minutes. Eisenhower, that's looking better, 35 as well. Post Office to 390. Stevenson out a half hour, out to 355 from downtown. Southbound 55, an accident at Route 53 on the right shoulder, a little snug into that as people look at it. Outbound Dan Ryan, 15 minutes. Heavy outbound 4 to 115th down to 130th. Still busy along DuSable Lakeshore Drive either way. Southbound Tri-State still heavy. North looks better. Jane Addams, Reagan 355 not bad. And eastbound 80. There is an accident in the roadwork zone at Center. This report is a service of the AM 560 mobile app. Listen to AM 560 on your smartphone or mobile device when you download the AM 560 mobile app at 560theanswer.com/mobile. From the AM 560 Traffic Center, I'm Jill Urchek.
Now, your official weather forecast from the Air Right Heating and Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight will be cloudy and humid with a few showers and a heavy thunderstorm possible, which could lead to flooding downpours and localized damaging wind gusts. The low temperature will be around 70 degrees. On Tuesday, expect humid conditions with more showers and a heavy thunderstorm. The day will start off cloudy, then transition to a mix of clouds and sunshine in the afternoon. The high temperature will reach 79 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
When you build a home for the next chapter of your life, you're not just choosing floor plans, finishes, and paint colors. You're making a decision about where your life continues after all the years you've worked so hard. At Steiner Homes, we understand that because we're a family business that's been building custom homes in Northwest Indiana for over 30 years. And for us, this isn't just a business, it's a calling. Every Steiner home is built with intention. No shortcuts, no compromises. Just craftsmanship you can see and quality you can feel. There's a reason more empty nesters are choosing Indiana. Lower taxes mean your money goes further. Safer communities mean real peace of mind. It's a place where neighbors still wave, families flourish, and you can finally put down roots that feel right. From the very first sketch to the final walkthrough, we treat every home like it's our own family moving in. If you're ready to build a home and right-size your life in a smarter, safer place, start with people who truly care. Steiner Homes of Northwest Indiana. Love where you live. Learn more at steinerhomesltd.com.
Most investments today feel like second jobs. Real estate, you're a landlord. Stocks, you're a day trader. Crypto, you're a full-time researcher. You've got a life to live. Your investment should help you live it. That's why more Americans are choosing gold. Noble Gold has helped thousands protect their future with real physical gold. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com to get your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com.
Past performance may not be indicative of future results. Investing in precious metals, including gold, involves risks. Consult with your tax attorney or financial professional before making an investment decision.
Foundations of Freedom, a look at America's founding principles and the leaders who shaped our nation.
In 1783, the Revolutionary War was nearly over, but America's future remained uncertain. Officers in the Continental Army were angry. Congress had failed to provide promised pay, and some considered using the Army's power to force the government's hand. George Washington understood their frustration, but he also knew the liberty they had fought to win could be destroyed by the very army that secured it. Washington confronted his officers and urged them to choose honor, patience, and loyalty to the Republic over rebellion. He could have used their anger to increase his own power. Instead, he used his influence to restrain it. Power asks what it can take. Character asks what duty requires. Washington's lesson still stands. Freedom survives when leaders place principle above ambition and remain faithful to God, country, and the people they serve.
Now, from The Signature, a division of Esquire Bank Studios.
This hour of The Shaun Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. Inherited a coin collection? Sell to global bidders for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Oh, we got Fauci's phone. Doctor apologizes for the vaccine. Put a pin in Tellerico, that punk kid who looks like the Mad Magazine guy, that queer from Texas. He voted and said he lived with his mommy to commit voter fraud in 2020. What are Democrats like? How else are you going to get elected, you thieving rat pigs? Verlon, Michigana.
Shaun, don't worry about the grocery stores, okay? I know you remember this. Remember back in the day, we had these two products. No.
Come on, Moon Oink!
No.
All right.
First, it was generics, which was the white bags with the black letters, and it was so embarrassing when people brought it into their homes. You got pegged for being poor. So those were like 70% off. Those came and went. They were around for a while, but they came and went. Then you had generics. And they tried to make the bag look a little better. They were black with like red letters or something like that on it. And those were like 30 to 40% off. They were throughout the grocery store too. They came and went away. These grocery stores will come and go. Now, what you are pegged with if you live in New York is paying for the child care. They've managed to put a tax on the rich people to pay for the child care. But when all the people of means leave New York, that's gonna go away as well.
Well, they're not paying for real kids; they're paying for fake kids. But yeah, one thing about the government cheese, you remember the cheese looked like a shoebox, the American cheese.
I remember that. I was about 8 years old. My cousins lived in the projects, and I did not know what powdered milk was. They showed me the powdered milk and the powdered eggs. I was like, no, the block cheese and the block meat, the bologna.
Listen,
oh, no.
That cheese was fantastic. I know guys that arbitrage their cheese. They get the cheese for free. They'd sell chunks of it because I'm telling you what, to this day, that cheese was delicious. I don't know what they did in it, but I like the cheese. It's a different thing, though, Verlon. They're trying to legitimize this nonsense by giving credit cards so that people look like they can pay, when the reality is that in this country, and I'm dead serious when I say this, in this country, people are poor, but it's the only country where you don't have to be. Capitalism has but one flaw. You got to participate. And when you're paying people $80,000, $70,000, $100,000 to not participate, they'll allow the theft to happen because everybody in these neighborhoods knows the scam. They all know the scams, and half of the stores are in on the scams. And to tell me any different is the evidence. If you gave $1.5 billion, which is $15,000 million to poor people to buy groceries, why would a grocery store close? Why? How could it close? How about that? How could it close? It can't. It closes because they don't use the money for food. They sell it for pennies on the dollar, and the providers are in on it. Sorry, it's just the way I see it. Thank you very much for the call there, Verlon. And it all starts with the same thing Tellerico is guilty of in Texas. And everybody knows it's called fraud.
This president is trying to push this SAVE Act, which basically would require that for people to register to vote, you're going to have proof of who you are.
Yes? And what's the problem? Whore! What's the problem, you dirty, filthy, lying, thieving rat? We know how you get in.
Earlier this week, we introduced you to Raquel Rodriguez and her illegal election law activities in San Antonio, Texas. Well, there is more. Listen carefully as she tells our undercover journalist the cost of buying votes.
I've got 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and the rest are Democrats.
Okay.
So, how much money are we talking? Because just so you'll know, when you do things like this for votes, you're talking between $5 to $8 per vote. I'm just letting you know, so you have an idea. And I'm going to bring $3,500 to the plate, countywide. So I know what I'm bringing to the plate countywide. So that's like $28,000.
Like model right now.
We're going to Sizzler, huh, Fatso? And it's every county. Here's the tip-off. It's only the counties where Joe Biden won in 2020 with the office whore, Kamala Harris. It's only those counties, which is an infinitesimal amount of this country, which is why these are the counties to keep an eye on. But that information was stifled. I am going to play you a news clip from OAN News that was in the lame duck time when Joe Biden stole the election and we were crying for an audit of the votes. This was a newscast that was shelved, and OAN News was sued for telling citizens how they stole the election 6.5 years ago.
Pennsylvania had over 1.5 million fraudulent votes counted, and the spread is less than 82,000 votes. These fraudulent votes come from dead voters, ballots that were received before they were supposedly mailed out, and over 330,000 electronic spikes from the voting machine. 205,000 overvotes, meaning there were 205,000 more votes than registered voters, and 682,000 ballots that were illegally processed without any oversight whatsoever. More than 1.5 million votes in Pennsylvania is apparently what it took for Joe Biden to steal the state. Georgia has a similar phenomenon that Democrats are failing to account for. 66,248 underage voters voted in Georgia. 10,315 dead people voted. 2,500 convicted felons voted. Nearly 200,000 votes were fraudulently inserted into the vote count instantaneously. 4,500 votes come from unregistered voters. These numbers show a clear pattern that a variety of types of fraud occurred in this election and that Democrats are desperately trying to cover it up.
And they did. And what ensued was $9 trillion in the debt and the $6.5 trillion that comes in on average, all 4 years, Gonzville, in the wind, only in Democrat areas. 312-642-5600.
Marxists, socialists, and communists are not welcome on the Shaun Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. If you're a business owner with unfiled tax returns, tax season is not your friend. This is when the IRS turns up the heat. They match 1099s. They review payroll filings. They compare bank deposits. And when returns are missing, they don't send you a warning. They take action. Penalties stack up fast. Liens become public. Bank levies can drain your account. I see it every year. Good business owners who waited too long, not because they're crooks, but because they were overwhelmed. Let me be clear, hiding makes it worse. Action makes it fixable. I help business owners get compliant, file what's missing, and negotiate from a position of strength, not fear. Don't wait for the next certified letter. Don't wait for a levy. Go to fightbacknow.com and sign up for my daily email. I'll tell you exactly what to do next, step by step. Or call me right now at 312-664-6649. Act now before the IRS acts first.
Don't you love summer in Chicago? But I bet you hate painting year after year, so do what your neighbor Rich did. He called Rhino Shield.
Aluminum siding built in 1961. It also had a lot of stains, and it was white, and we wanted to change the color.
And Rhino Shield comes with a 25-year warranty and is formulated specifically for our unique climate here in Chicago.
We're told that it's hard to paint aluminum siding and get a good adhesion with regular paint, so Rhino Shield was great.
And just in time for summer Chicago, you can get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 10% off the regular price.
They came on a Saturday and power washed everything all around the house. And then they came back and did all the work on Monday and Tuesday. And in 2 full days, they worked on a Monday and were completely done by Tuesday.
This offer is for a limited time, so call now, 847-850-1132, 847-850-1132, or ChicagoRhinoShield.com.
No pain, go Rhino Shield.
Identity theft can cost more than you think. Drained investment accounts, stolen tax returns, lost wages, expenses for lawyers. It's a lot. That's why LifeLock is backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, which covers up to $1 million for stolen funds, fees, and experts and lawyers, and out-of-pocket expenses. Don't face the burden of identity theft alone. Protect your future and finances with LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off your first year with promo code BECK at LifeLock.com. 1-800-LifeLock, promo code BECK. LifeLock.com. Terms to apply.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She can get a deal. Book telehealth if she feels.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
AM 560. The Answer.
Moo and I, we got baby spare ribs, roast beef, hot links, and more to give. Cube steaks, hot dogs, real tips, ooh, pork chops, turkey wings, and chicken wings too. Give me a wave if you like catfish. Jump up if it's your favorite dish. Tommy likes ribs and chicken wings. If you like you, let me hear you scream. Wave for catfish.
Not a sponsor yet. Squirrel, see if that LLC is available. I'm buying that son of a gun. We open up again. Only thing left is the squeal. Let's take a look at 10-time felon Martell Brown, 37 years old, charged with burglary. There's a shocker. 10-time felon jumps from third-floor window. So in this universal health care, do I have to pay for this scumbag's new ankles and his new knees as he hit the ghetto lotto? And after he gets out of jail for the 40th time, he's on the ghetto lotto known as disability. And the next thing you know, you're finding him at the Bud Billiken parade pretending he needs more money, because that's the way the system works right now. And on top of it, illegal aliens. Drinks are on the house.
Our security and our cybersecurity.
I want to ask you about the debates this week. One question to many of your colleagues and competitors was whether their health care plan would cover undocumented immigrants. Would your plan do that?
As part of comprehensive immigration reform, we must move forward on making sure that people have health care. California.
No, we don't. I don't give a rip if you Democrats have health care or you got to grunt it out in a parking lot. You're worthless. What do you think of that? Just like this guy, Martell Brown, 37, 10-time felon. Jumped from a third window, and he hit the ghetto lotto. His ability.
I just did that with Medicaid, and I am supportive of that. But I think on the national basis, as we go...
Get away. There's a reason they don't want to say, Democrats, we're going to do universal health care among us. All you have to do to get universal health care is be a Democrat. We're going to only have our money. We'll have our taxes. It doesn't work because they're stealing over and over again in all kinds of ways. And in Illinois, did you think they're only going to charge you for the tolls you went through?
You had no idea that you had racked up these unpaid tolls.
I had no idea until I signed in and saw that it was an invoice.
Andrew Kuhl is one of the dozens of viewers who reached out to us after our reporting about mystery charges showing up on tollway accounts. Many of these date back about a year, but drivers sent us emails detailing their frustration about never receiving notification or explanation from the tollway, even after...
Who operates the toll? What a system that is. You want to talk about money for nothing and chicks... they're Democrats. Guys for free. It's right there. Completely unaudited. Who oversees the Illinois toll? Illinois scumbag. Yeah, you are. Democrat thieves. One giant corporation that produces nothing except failure and taxes everybody for their very existence. It's a corporation with no rules.
This is not a corporation. This is your municipal government.
It says corporation on the seal, Marty.
Marty, you fracking moron! You're a corporation that does nothing except you have the power of law. And you extort only the decent in the name of the indecent. And your thirst for other people's money is insatiable.
Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month.
Who pays for it? You live with your mammy and your pappy, stealing their Netflix, you fracking skull. This is the nice thing, Squirrel. You have to have no experience. In fact, you could be good at nothing. And all you have to do is sell this very nonsense. This very nonsense that is bound by no reality. It's one giant fraud.
Democratic centralism is one of those kind of like scary words people hear and they're like, oh, like Stalin. And you're like, okay, all right. It actually means something and it has this greater historical context. And it just means... Can you unpack it?
You know why, Squirrel, you know why you don't, and you know, people say, oh, you're a fat phobe. Maybe I am. Because it's the picture of gluttony. It is the picture of gluttony. That's why these who sell it, they are the ones that are repulsive, both physically and mentally. They stand for nothing but the guarantee to steal other people's money.
But by the way, just a quick definitional thing. What, in your mind, is the difference between socialism and communism?
I think, to me, the fundamental differences, there's many. Yeah. One prevailing one is democracy.
Which means if there's more suck-ons than there are decent, the suck-ons will take your money, and they'll call it democracy. You only fool other morons called Democrats. We'll be back in 21 to drag the cockroaches out from the rocks.
Maybe you've thought about taking a cruise. Maybe you've even talked yourself out of it. But this is not just another vacation.